One of his ongoing research project funded by the ICSSR with a grant of rupees 1.25 crore examines the very interesting topic of unique healing practices among the traditional healers of India. Beyond teaching and research, he has played important leadership roles in policy and academic bodies related to Ayush and Ayurveda education. He has been a member of scientific advisory committees of institutions like the CCRS, that is Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, and the Institute for Postgraduate Teaching and Research in Ayurveda. He has significantly also contributed to Planning Commission subcommittees on Ayush education during the 12th five-year plan. Sir has an illustrious profile, and I could go on speaking about his profile and his contribution, but I'm sure everyone is looking forward to hear from Dr. Patwardhan himself. It is an absolute honor to have him with us today. Please join me in warmly welcoming Professor Patwardhan.
Thank you. I don't know from where did you get all these details of my work. Thank you for those kind words of introduction. I prefer maintaining a low profile, and I don't think I'm a big achiever that way. Anyways, thank you so much. uh, well, I was told that by Bina madam, I was told that this refresher course is mainly focused on uh, digital, usage in teaching and technology. Uh, Teaching and technology using digital platforms. This is what is the focus of this refresher course. Am I correct?
So it's on e-learning, e-governance, and
E-learning.
LMS. Yes, yes.
Okay, right. So uh, I'm currently what I'm doing is whenever somebody asked me to talk about any topic, I grab that opportunity, not because I'm an expert in that area, but because I think that I'll be able to communicate something about Ayurveda because that is my core area. And maybe I may go off track as far as the topic given to me. Of course, I'll share my experiences with e-learning and all that. We have done certain things. I will share, but before that, I think I will give you because most of you are from humanities and science background, right? And none of you are from medical background. Is that correct? Is my presumption correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Right.
sir, only me, Dr. Alka Mishra. I'm from Ayurveda background.
Oh, nice. Okay, right. So all others are not from medical background. So then, this is an opportunity. I usually take such opportunities to talk about Ayurveda and then what we are doing and what are our experiences in making Ayurveda, the teaching learning methods that we have developed, all that. So, hope this is fine with the audience. Hope this is fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Okay, thank you. So, there are many misconceptions about Ayurveda, especially among general public. Uh, and especially these misconceptions are of two extreme types. If you go through some science activists blogs or maybe some handles on Twitter or on social media, you will get an extreme narrative saying that Ayurveda is completely a pseudoscience. It is dangerous. It contains so many toxic herbs or toxic metals, minerals, lead poisoning, kidney damage. All this is being spoken of by one section of so-called science, science advocates or science activists. This is what I would call. On the other hand, there is another narrative going on, saying that Ayurveda is completely safe. It has got no side effects. You can use it for as long as possible. You don't need any prescription. You can directly go to a shop and buy whatever Ayurvedic medicine you want, and it is safe, completely safe, and it is because it is Indian, it has to be good. Hmm? And then again, because it is associated with uh, ancient Hindu culture, again it has to be supported. And this is, there is a narrative linking Ayurveda with nationalism, religion, and all that. So these are two extreme positions that we observe in the current, current scenario of how Ayurveda is being seen by public. And I would say that Ayurveda is really at a crossroads at this point of time, because uh, there is a lot of public trust on one hand, and growing distrust on the other, and two extremes. And how Ayurveda navigates through these extremes is something that is going to determine the future of Ayurveda. And that's why I thought of talking about Ayurveda in general, so that you will have a understanding. I am always for truth. I don't hesitate in speaking truth, and that is why people don't like me in general, my fraternity, or policymakers and all that. So, but anyways, that is fine with me. I always try to be as truthful as possible, as honest as possible, right? So there is a debate. Let us look into this debate, right? Somebody calls it pseudoscience, somebody calls it science, complete science. And these are two extremist views, and truth lies somewhere in between, right? And what is that truth? To understand this, we need to understand certain terminologies, like what is pseudoscience, what is science, how science is defined, all that. So I'll start with certain common arguments that are made in both favor of Ayurveda and against Ayurveda. Right? So the scientists, so-called science activists or scientists, mainstream scientists or science fanatics, I would like to call them, they say that Ayurveda is not evidence based. You don't have good clinical trials to show that Ayurvedic interventions are really really useful in treating certain diseases. You keep quoting Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita, and you treat them as though they are the final truth, and you don't have any critical inquiry or critical thinking in Ayurvedic education. And whatever is written in Charaka Samhita or Sushruta Samhita is taken to be true, and that is how you practice. That is why, and you don't subject your treatments to investigation. You don't, indulge in rigorous examination of evidence. You are not interested in building up evidence, creating good evidence, and discarding certain interventions which are not useful. So these are certain uh, set of arguments that are made against Ayurveda. And they also say that whatever is written in Ayurvedic ancient textbooks has been proven to be wrong. This is, many people say that the Tridosha theory or maybe Panchamahabhuta theory. These are certain theories that Ayurveda is based on, and people say that no, such theories were there in Western medicine also, in ancient Greek also. Similar theories were there, humoral theory, but they have been discarded. Western medicine has discarded it, and then it has grown up, and now it has become evidence-based medicine, and you are still stuck with those ancient theories, old theories that have been proven to be wrong, and all that. So this is one part of argument, right? That is why they say that it is pseudoscience. You are indulging in pseudoscience. You are doing pseudoscience. This is what they say. The other extreme, Ayurvedic fraternity, most of the Ayurvedic fraternity, they say that the textbooks were written maybe 2000 years ago, but they were written using their own principles of methods. They have used our own methods, and our science is as complete as Western science. Why should we be judged using the Western science, right? Why should we seek validation from Western science? We don't want to enter into your trap. We don't want to conduct clinical trials and show that our medicines are efficacious, because if we conduct clinical trials according to your methods, maybe our medicines will be proven to be not efficacious. So we don't want to be judged, or we don't want to be evaluated based on the based on your rules, right? And our science is complete in its own, right? And we have our own theories. We have our own methods of examination. We have our own methods of you know generating the knowledge, and we have our own methods of using it, applying it. So our science should not be evaluated using your yardstick. Now this is again a very powerful kind of argument. So both these arguments are, they look very powerful, right? I mean, based on from where you look at these arguments from. So, you know, both arguments look like very strong, and truth lies somewhere in between. So, I will be talking about what is the truth, right? So, you know, we will start with something different so that we'll come to this point slightly later. For example, earlier days, uh, there were certain scientists like Ptolemy, right? He proposed the geocentric model of universe or solar system. According to his proposition, he thought that the Earth was the center of the universe, and all planets, stars, everything else, they revolve around the Earth. And this is what your common experience would also say. If you are not taught that Earth revolves around the sun in your uh, elementary classes, you would possibly believe that Earth is stationary because you don't feel that Earth is moving, Earth is revolving. You don't feel, right? So your common experience would tell you that, oh, every day in the morning hours, the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So sun must be moving around the sun. Even the moon, it seems to be rotating around the earth. So a common man's experience would also say that earth is stationary and everything else is moving. So that is how these theories evolve, right, based on your common observations. But when long-term patterns are recorded, and then you match with the positions of planets, you track those planetary positions over a long period of time, then they notice that, okay, there is some retrograde motion, right? Sometimes the planet looks like moving towards one direction, and after a few months it looks like moving to the opposite direction. If that is, if they revolved around the earth, then this retrograde motion would not be possible to be explained. So similarly, a pole star, it doesn't move in its from its position. It looks stationary, and all stars seem to be rotating around that pole star, right? So the movements of the stars is different, movements of the planets is different, movements of the moon is different. When people started documenting these motions, and the started documenting each and every patterns, then they recognized that this theory has got some problems within it. Then came, newer models to explain it. Then came the Copernicus model, right, which explains that, all the sun is the center, and all other planets, they they rotate or revolve around the sun in a perfect circular path. Then again, Kepler and Galileo, they observed something different. They observed that, okay, this again, perfect circle won't explain this because of certain uh, planets of some satellites of certain planets. Their observations, they revealed that, okay, this is not how it should be moving. The path should be elliptical. Then they proposed that, okay, the planetary pathway, the motion of planets, it happens in elliptical fashion. So that is how the science evolves. Whenever your common experiences, whatever you commonly observe, they help you in framing certain theories. And when your further observations, careful observations, you track the observation for longer durations, you keep a record of it, and then the observations might tell you that, okay, the observations do not match with the theory, then always it is the theory that has to be changed, right? Theory will be changed. So that is how geocentric model has been now proven to be wrong, and now we think that the heliocentric model is the correct model, right? Heliocentric means sun is the center of the solar system, and all planets surround or revolve around the sun. So this is how science evolves. right? Using repeated observations, careful observations, documentations, and so on. And this example is very important because you can't do experimentations in astronomy. Astronomy is a science where you cannot do experimentations. You cannot take a planet and make it rotate somewhere else, or with you cannot increase or decrease the motion of a planet and see what happens. You cannot change the direction of its movement. You cannot do anything. You cannot mess with these astronomical bodies. You have only one thing with you, that is observation. You can develop and build good telescopes, and you can keep observing and documenting. So this is a purely observational science, and using the observations also you can come up with good theories. Often we have this misconception that only the experimentations will lead to good scientific knowledge. No, even good observation can lead to valid scientific theories. This is something very important. That's why I take examples from this astronomy, because which it is a completely observational science. So whenever observations do not match with the predictions of the theory, so a theory is formed whenever there is some puzzling phenomena. You need to explain certain things. Why does the sun rise in the east and sets in the west? So so this is a question, right? This is a phenomenon that you observe, and you need to give some explanation. So first explanation that comes to your mind is that, okay, sun must be revolving around the earth, is it not? So that is how you give explanation. See, this is how human mind is made of. Human mind tends to give explanations or seek explanations to phenomena that you see around your world. And that is how actually Ayurveda also evolved, right? In early days of Ayurveda, when Ayurveda, Charaka, Sushruta, these the authors, they wrote their uh, uh, documentation in the form of samhitas. We call it Charaka Samhita, Sushruta Samhita. They were documented somewhere 2000 years ago, 2 millennia ago, right? So at that point of time, what was the status of science? What was the status of biology? What was the status of technology? They did not have access to microscope. They did not have access to preservation techniques of dead bodies or cadaveric preservation. They did not have access to X-rays. They did not have access to laboratory investigations. They did not have access to so many, even stethoscope. They did not have access to most of these equipments that we are able to use now. So they used the equipments that are available to them to understand the universe, right? So what equipments they had with them? They had with them the five sensory organs, nothing else. So their technological tools were five sensory organs. So used based on that, they tried to explain the phenomena that they observed. You need to contextualize the Ayurvedic knowledge, and then you see, whether it is scientific or not. You have to judge it without, when you take it out of context, it is easy to blame that, it is unscientific, it is pseudoscience. All that is very easy. But if you observe, if you look at the knowledge that was constructed 2000 years ago, using the tools and reasoning that was available to ancient scholars, then you will understand that how scientific thinking evolved. So these are certain very important scientific theories that were formed using their you know commonsensical logic or reasoning. So they thought of dividing, because they had questions. They saw so many questions, like why the redness of rose is different from the redness of setting sun, why the sweetness of sugarcane is different from the sweetness of mango, why the fragrance of jasmine is different from the fragrance of some other flower. So why the hardness of wood is different from the hardness of the metal or rock. So these are the questions that must have bothered them, and they must have tried to evolve an explanation, right? That is how theories evolve. Whenever you see some puzzling phenomena, you try to come up with a theory or explanation. That is how theory building takes place in science, right? uh, uh, Please ask, please feel free to stop me anywhere, right? If you are stuck or if you don't get anything, please feel free to ask me questions, right? I don't want this to be a continuous monotonous or monologue. I mean, I encourage you ask questions. Anyways, so they thought of, okay, now let us divide whatever is observable in this universe into, you know, five classes. How? On what basis? On the basis of the sensory organs, right? So things that can be seen, things that can be touched, things that can be heard, things that can be smelled, and things that can be seen. So that is how, based on five sensory organs, they classified the entire observable universe into five classes, and that is what is known as Panchamahabhut. The Panchamahabhut. Why we have Panchamahabhuta? In almost all ancient Indian philosophies, the theory of Panchamahabhuta is accepted. Of course, there are multiple variations. Again, Sankhya, according to Sankhya, it is more of the internal thing, right? Not external, right? Because you perceive certain things and you define what is, uh, uh, you know, the category. Whereas in Vaisheshika Darshana, in Vaisheshika philosophy, it is more of physical. They say that no, the Prithvi, Ap, Teja, Vayu, and Akasha, right? These are the five Mahabhutas. Most of you might have heard about it, right? Uh, when a person passes away, we often say that Panchatva mein leen ho gaye. This is, these are the words that we use because they become five Mahabhutas. So entire universe is made up of five Mahabhutas, and when the person dies, then he or she becomes one of those, or he is consumed within those five Mahabhutas. He disintegrates into five Mahabhutas, right? That is how it is thought. Now, so they again, classified based on what can be heard, what can be seen, what can be touched, and all that. So, for example, the first proposition was of space, Akasha. Akasha is not sky, or it is not even outer space. It is space. Like, for example, I'm sitting here and you are maybe sitting before me, and there is space between us. And that is the space. That is called Akasha, right? Something that is empty, unoccupied, right? Free. That is called Akasha. So, how can you perceive Akasha, the presence of space? How can it be felt, or how can it be ascertained? It can be ascertained because whatever I'm speaking, you are able to listen. So sound travels across space. So you need to think like ancient scholars. Then only you will understand Ayurveda and these ancient theories. They did not have means to understand vacuum and all that. Now we know that without the presence of air or medium, a sound cannot travel. But in their positions, you keep yourselves and then imagine that the sound is traveling in the space. So the perception of sound is something that will make you understand what is Akash, right? That's why they associated Akash with sound. And then second one, they thought of Vayu, that is uh, air or wind. So if you switch on the fan, you will feel that the breeze, right? The breeze is felt through your skin because it is, through touch you can feel it. That's why they associated wind with touch. So Shabda, Sparsha, Akasha and Vayu. Third is Agni. If I light a candle, how can you perceive that a candle is burning? Because you can see it, right? Through your vision, right? So Rupa is associated with Agni. Agni can be seen. So through, as you go on increasing, from descent from Akasha to Agni, the number of senses with which you can perceive the entities also goes on increasing, right? Space, only one, Shabda. Vayu, Shabda and Sparsha. And then Agni, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa. Rupa is vision, right? You can touch the flame, or when the flame or fire burns, you can hear the sound. So that is how three qualities of three sensory modalities can perceive Agni. And then comes water, Jala. All the three, the space, Vayu, and Agni cannot be tasted, but water can be tasted. It can be of different tastes, right? Sweet water, salt water, and all that. So it can be tasted. So taste is one component of, one character of this Jala. And lastly, Prithvi. Prithvi is Gandha, is smell. All others, they do not have any smell of their own. But when it comes to Prithvi, soil, when the rains happen in the when the first rainfall happens in the summers, you feel the fragrance of soil. So always our ancients, they associated soil with fragrance, and all those substances that originate in the soil, maybe fruit, maybe flower, maybe a tree, or maybe a leaf, everything has smell. That's why prithvi is associated with smell. So not only smell, it has all the other four also. So that is how they classified the universe into five classes, and they proposed that suppose single entities cannot exist. Any entity that you are able to perceive should be made up of all five, but in different proportions. That would explain why the wood is less harder than the rock, because they would propose that okay, in rock there is more prithvi, right? And in wood there is prithvi, but
कोणाला बरं नाही वाटत.
there is also vayu, right? That is why wood floats on the water. So that is how they could explain the differences. They propose that everything is made up of Panchamahabhut, but in different proportions. So they could explain these, whatever is observable in the universe. But they have now one more question. Certain things like rock, they do not respond, whereas plants, they respond, right, to sunlight or to the absence of water. They respond. Animals, they respond. So this response, so there are responding things and non-responding things. Again, how can we distinguish between the two? They had this question, right? If Panchamahabhuta is the theory that can explain everything, then how do you draw distinction between uh, Panchamahabhuta and living and non-living? Then they had to propose another entity called Atma or Chetana. Again, these are postulated entities. They did not have any further better explanation. So, Panchamahabhuta and Atma, whenever there is Panchamahabhuta and Atma, then they called them to be living. And whenever there is no Atma, then they called it non-living. So, such postulated entities, they are legitimate entities in science also. In science also, such entities exist. I'm coming to, slowly I'm coming to how scientific, whether it is scientific or not, such arguments, such postulates. Imagine Euclid's mathematics. You have all read about Euclid's theorems, right? In your maybe 6th standard, 7th standard at least. All of us have read, right? So he defines a point, then he defines a line, straight line, then he defines parallel lines. Does anybody remember what is the definition of a point according to Euclid's axiomatic principles? Because Euclid was also contemporary of Charaka and Sushruta around 3rd century BC, and Sushruta Charaka were also of same time, and this was how science was pursued during those days, by postulating certain axioms first. Axiomatic principles. Axiom means you cannot prove it. Axioms cannot be proven. They are taken to be true. And that is how Panchamahabhuta is an axiomatic principle. Before that, there is a first starting point. That is, the human being is nothing but a miniature form of universe. Human being is a miniature form of universe. This is the first axiomatic principle that led to other development of other theories in Ayurveda. And it is similar to Euclid's theory of proposing a point. According to Euclid, a point is a dimensionless entity. It has got no dimension. Similarly, a straight line is a series of points. So series of dimensionless entities would lead to line. How is it possible? Then line would also have no identity, no dimension. Is it not? So as soon as you draw a line on your paper, then it is no more a line. According to Euclid, as per Euclid's principles, a line drawn on the paper is not a line, because in the line there are so many points which have dimensions. And if you use your magnifying glass, you will understand that a line is not a line, it is a rectangle. Is it not? So, but Now, these are certain axiomatic principles are not questioned. They are taken as true. That's why a true line, a true point cannot exist in the universe. As per Euclidean, geometry, a true point or a true straight line, or even a straight line cannot exist, because as per the definition of straight line, by extending the two ends of the straight line, if you start extending the two ends of the straight line, the two ends will never meet. Remember, all of you agree with this? So, can such straight lines exist in the universe? Actually, in this universe, no such straight line can exist. Because suppose, we start walking on the equator. Let us assume that two of us stand on the equator and start moving on the opposite directions. One starts moving towards east and another starts moving towards west. Straight line. What will happen? Ultimately, we will meet on the opposite side of the globe. And straight line becomes a circle. So that is how actually planar geometry and spherical geometry are different. When people realize that Euclid's planar geometry doesn't fit with this spherical geometry, then a new science of spherical geometry came up. And therefore, even this universe is finite, and you cannot have a strictly straight line. Even the light rays are not very straight. If you go through the around the go through the pictures of maybe black holes, the light also looks like curved, because the space-time is curved. Curved space-time was something that Einstein proposed, is it not? So,
Yes, sir. Actually, sorry to
yes,
interrupt, sir.
yes,
Something interesting I just came on.
yeah,
In our seventh standard school book, you can
yeah,
find light travels in a straight line. This is the
exactly,
proportion. Whereas when you go
exactly,
to the 10th standard and 11th standard,
yeah,
you have one particular chapter called as light waves. Okay.
exactly,
So
exactly, exactly.
it is
Light all,
contradictory. I just,
absolutely,
whenever I may get any opportunity to meet some kind of policy makers and educationists, I just put forth this, because in seventh standard it is said that light travels in a straight line, and in the 11th standard light travels in waves. And when
exactly.
he comes to college, they say that light travels in nanoparticles, charged particles, and
Photons,
it's called as
yeah,
packets. Okay,
yeah,
so this is what it can have its own
yeah,
flow. So what
exactly,
happens? We have a kind of contradictory basis. So this
exactly.
should be changed, I suppose.
I
Probably,
know.
I get
I
the.
understand. Yeah, actually, the problem with this, with our education system, is that we don't encourage critical thinking and critical questioning. These things should not be taught as final truths. See, human knowledge is fallible. This is something very important that all of us should understand. All human knowledge is fallible. Whatever we treat to be truth today may be proven to be false tomorrow. And that is how science evolves. And if you understand this, and if you absorb this fact, then there will be no confusion.
Yes,
And
sir.
that is
Any science starts with an assumption. Let us
exactly,
assume that. That is all.
absolutely, absolutely. This is why, that is why I'm trying to convey you that these kinds of axiomatic postulates are completely valid, legitimate in science. Even in science, so many such legitimate propositions are there. For example, even the gravity. When the Newton's gravitational force understanding of gravity was completely different from what Einstein redefined it. Or maybe the genes, the Gregor Mendel, when he proposed in 1600s or so, when he proposed the existence of genes, he did not know that actually whether genes exist or not. It was just a proposition, it was a postulate, because that postulate had the explanatory and predictive power. He could explain the phenotypic ratio, this genotypic ratio. Why do the pea plants, produce these number of characters, are retained, they are transferred. All this could be explained using a concept of gene. So, and those extremists, science extremists, should say that such postulates are unscientific or pseudoscientific, but they are not. It took more than 200, 300 years for us to understand actual DNA structure. That is how science evolves, right? When Gregor Mendel proposed the genes, he did not know about the structure of DNA. That was proven only in 1953 in
I
Nature
suppose
paper.
he initially he called that as factors. Am I right, sir? It was
Yeah,
not
exactly,
gene.
exactly. Yeah, of course, of course. The name came later,
Mm.
exactly. But the understanding, that conceptual proposition was very important. And then, that is how the theoretical principles or postulates, they go on becoming refined and refined and refined, redefined. That's how, gravity, force, every such thing has had its own course of progress or evolution. And when we miss this understanding, we start calling Ayurveda as pseudoscience. That is my point. We don't understand what is science, how science is constructed, what is axioms, how propositions are made, even in the absence of proof. But then how these are, they evolve slowly, and then one day you may get a concrete proof of that, right? For example, hormones. Hormones were invented, assumed or postulated even before a single molecule of hormone was found out. You know, so that is very interesting. That is how science grows. So this proposition of ancients like Panchamahabhuta or Atma, all this is actually legitimate kind of science, right? So it comes from one axiomatic principle that every human body is just a miniature of this eh, entire universe. So then they had another next question, right? So if everything is made up of, all living beings are made up of Panchamahabhuta and Atma, then why do people differ? Why am I different from someone else? And why do people react differently? Why do people respond differently? Then they had to invent one more layer of theory, and they called it tridosh, right? Three theories, right? Theory containing three components, three dosha, right? Vata, pitta, and kapha. I don't know how many of you have heard these days. Most of you must have heard about vata, pitta, and kapha in Ayurveda, because many, they have now becoming mainstream terminologies, especially in popular culture, right?
Sir,
You
we
are
we have heard some government scheme was there. The
uh,
Ayurved doctors approach our institute teachers and they
to
analyzed
assess prakriti,
through
desh
that
ki
they
prakriti,
analyzed our prakriti
constitution.
and they
Correct,
said that
correct,
whether cover is there like that.
correct. But I think, before
Sir,
doing such an
if
exercise,
I'm not wrong,
yeah,
Vata, it represents air. Uh, Pittam, in Tamil we say that it represents water, uh, uh, and fire concept, and Kabam, once again, it represents earth, uh, and
similar thing.
probably.
Yeah. See, that is how. No, I'll come to that. This is, again, this has got scientific basis. They thought that, okay, what is essential without which life cannot survive outside the human body, in the external world, what are the three essentials without which life cannot sustain? Then they thought of three things. Normally we come up with food, water, and air, right? Everybody would say that, without these three things we cannot survive. Okay. So water and air, fine. What about food? Food, where does it come from? Food either comes from animals or plants, and ultimately it comes from plants. So
Land.
plants derive energy from sun. So ultimately, all energy comes from sun, and that is why, this is from documented references from Sushruta Samhita. He says that, just like sun, air, and water, they sustain life in the external world. Similarly, inside the body, we have three principles, and they are called Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So Vata for wind, Pitta for sun or fire, and Kapha for water. And that is how, these three things were postulated. And again, all the features or characteristics of Vata, wind, sun, and water were ascribed to Vata, Pitta, Kapha also. For example, wind, when the breeze blows, your clothes are dried up, right? You can dry up your clothes when you put them up on the lines in the breeze. So it has got Dryness is one property of Vayu. Air cannot be seen. It is so subtle. So sukshma is another feature of Vayu. Lightness, it is very light. So laghu is another feature of Vayu, right? And in rough winters, your skin gets roughened. So roughness is another feature of Vayu. So that is how they started, right? Lightness, coldness, the wind breeze, when the breeze blows, you feel cold. So coldness, lightness, minuteness, mobility, roughness. So these are the attributes of Vayu. Again, these are all postulated entities, right? And then Pitta. Pitta is fiery or hot. So hotness, uh, intensity, spreading, pervading, all pervasive. This is how Pitta was described. And Kapha, water, heavy in comparison to water and, sorry, air and fire. Water is heavy, right? So it is heavy, it is slow, it is dull, it is again Shita, it is cold. And it wets your hand if you immerse your hand in water. So it's moist. So moistness, wetness, heaviness, slowness, clarity, all these were ascribed to Kapha. So, these postulates, they help them to classify several things, not only human beings. Human beings were classified into Vata, Pitta, Kapha again, based on these characters. So, dry, if a person is Vata dominant, then these features will be dominant in him. There will be dry skin, he will have dry skin, right? Light means his mind will be very light. He doesn't stick to a taken decision properly because he keeps wavering because lightness, right? That is how they explain. This is very beautifully done. And roughness, dryness, even emotionally he is dry. He's not very, he doesn't get attachments with the people. So his personal, interpersonal relationships, bonding with people is very weak, Vata Prakriti person, because he is dry, right? Dryness, subtleness, movement, always keeps moving, right? His mental activities also, they're very irregular, they keep changing. So change is a typical feature of Vayu person, right? They're not stable, so lack of stability, right? And lean and thin because there is no heaviness, light. So person is also light, in his physique also is light. So that is how they explained this. So they help they helped in categorizing the individuals based on physiology and psychology. So for example, see, if you are moving on the road and suddenly on the road there is some road traffic accident, a person is bleeding, right? A bike hits maybe another vehicle and then suddenly falls down and the person is bleeding. Then three of you are going and your responses could be quite different. One of you might simply say that, okay, no, now I need to help him, and immediately call police and call ambulance, all that, immediately jumps into action, takes leadership roles. That is one possibility. Another person may simply see the bleeding and simply feel afraid and he may faint, right? And third person may say that, oh, why should I get into this? If I get into this police, all that, who needs this? Who wants to be in this hassle? So let me move on. Or maybe someone simply watches what is happening. So there are several people surrounding in a single situation, but all their responses are different. So this is what made Charaka to think that, okay, we should classify people also based on their responses, based on their physique, based on their physiology. So let us call one person Vata, another person Pitta, and another person Kapha. So Kapha person usually is shy, withdrawn, or maybe introvert. All these are Kapha Prakriti characters, because heaviness, again, this draws directly from the features of water, right? Heaviness, slowness, huh? And bonding is very strong. The couple people have very strong bonding because wetness, it binds together. See, if you add water to the dough, flour, then it becomes dough, and it is, structural integrity is the function of kapha. And pitta is fiery, anger or short-temperedness or leadership qualities, analytical skills. All these are with pitta person. So this Vata Pitta Kapha theory, though it was postulated using some axiomatic principles, but it helped to to classify people, to classify symptoms, to classify diseases, to classify remedial measures, right? Even the plants, medicinal plants, are classified into, vata suppressing, pitta suppressing, kapha suppressing. Diseases are classified into vata, pitta, kapha disease. Symptoms are classified into vata, pitta, kapha. Everything that Ayurveda deals with has a common thread of vata, pitta, kapha. And this vata, pitta, kapha, is a postulated axiomatic principle which is derived from the basic principle of Loka Purusha Samya. That is, whatever is there in the universe, the same thing is there in the human body also. So, see, this is how Ayurvedic theories were evolved. And that is completely legitimate, right? But when does Ayurveda become pseudoscience? Now, I think you are convinced that Ayurvedic theory construction is completely in alignment with how science constructs its theories. Hope till now you are there with me, right? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, right. Yes, thank you. Now, when does Ayurveda become pseudoscience? If you open up Wikipedia page on Ayurveda, then it is written that Ayurvedic practice and Ayurvedic theory is pseudoscience. Whereas if you open the Wikipedia page on Ptolemy's geocentric theory, nowhere it says that it is pseudoscience. It says that it is a history of science. It is one of the important milestones in the history of understanding the universe. Now, what is the problem here? Why the dual kind of treatment? Why is Ayurveda being called pseudoscience, and why Ptolemy's theory of geocentric theory is not called pseudoscience? Any idea? Some would argue that Wikipedia is biased, and that is possible. I don't say that it is not possible, right? We cannot dismiss that kind of an argument. But if you say that Wikipedia is biased against Indian culture or Indian sciences, then it should have made similar statements about Panini's grammar also. Modern linguistics, Western linguistics, has taken lot of support and theories from Panini's grammar. And whenever you open the Wikipedia page on Panini, it praises him like anything. It doesn't call it pseudo linguistics. No, it says that no, Panini's linguistic has laid down the foundation of modern linguistics. But when it comes to Ayurveda, they say that no, it is pseudoscience. Why?
Sir, in case of the allopathic medicines, the
Huh,
ingredients are very clear.
huh.
Suppose we are considering the inhalatory medicines, so the main ingredient is very clear. Whatever is there, but in case of Ayurveda, complex matrix is there.
That's true.
Definitely, some key ingredients are playing role there. But what are the other matrices are there? Components in matrices are there that are not clear. Because of that
That
might
is
be.
fine. See, that is fine. That doesn't make something a pseudoscience. You may say that it is still not known, or maybe you may simply say that we don't know how does it work. Even modern science doesn't know many of the mechanisms of many of its own medicines, and it also uses multiple things in a single tablet, multivitamins. Many things are mixed. That is how Ayurvedic medicines also. There are many ingredients in the same maybe asava, arishta, or chavanaprash, whatever. Of course, there are multiple ingredients. Yeah, and if they work, then there should be no problem, right? The evidence to say that they really work in which condition, in which kind of patients, in at what stage of a disease, that is a problem. I agree. But having no evidence does not, having no concrete evidence does not say that it is pseudoscience. Pseudoscience is something different from pre-science or early science. This distinction, they could have, said that it is early science, just like Ptolemy's geocentric theory. But they don't do. Ayurveda, they simply call it pseudoscience. The reason is, I'll tell you. See, it is the Ayurvedic academicians to blame. What we do is, whenever a new scientific discovery comes up, immediately we say, oh, it has been already written in Charaka Samhita. or it is already there in Sushruta Samhita. Oh, we already knew this. Whenever we defend our Charaka Sushruta Samhitas, without critical understanding, then we are making Ayurveda pseudoscience. Inherently, Ayurveda is not a pseudoscience. It is science, definitely. Early science, you can say. But, we make it pseudoscience when we say that, oh, even Charaka knew the microbiome or microbiology, because no, he did not have access to microscopes. But if you open up the internet, you will say that there are some explanations like graha roga, right? Their symptoms, they look similar to some infectious diseases, but it doesn't mean that he knew the bacteria or virus. But there are certain people who say that no, even Vedas, you get different descriptions of different microorganisms, bacteria, virus. This virus was known to Charaka. This bacteria was known to Charaka. You make, whenever you make such claims, which are not evidence based, which you cannot sustain. So when we make such claims, that is how a science becomes pseudoscience. Any discipline doesn't become pseudoscience because of its content, but the way how its proponents or supporters defend those theories, irrespective of having contrary evidence, that is what makes a discipline pseudoscience. So pseudoscience, if Ayurveda has become, it is the Ayurvedic people who are to blame, not someone else, right? So this is the difference. This is the difference that science advocates or science enthusiasts or science activists are also missing. They are missing this because they call Ayurveda pseudoscience, which is completely wrong. Ayurveda inherently is not a pseudoscience. As I have explained you, right? The theory construction is completely in alignment or completely legitimate way of doing science. There is no, there cannot be any argument against it. But the way how we defend certain theories, that makes Ayurveda a pseudoscience. So this is one important aspect that I thought I should make draw this clarification here, because science, pseudoscience is a spectrum. If you go through what is pure science, then only physics might fit into what is called pure science. Everything else falls under the spectrum. As you come from chemistry, then biology, psychology, then the dilution begins. Biology is not strictly a science, because not yet a complete science, or not yet as rigorous science as physics is, right? So even psychology is still weaker, because Karl Popper, if you go through Karl Popper's arguments about demarcation argument, how to demarcate between science and pseudoscience, he says that the content of a discipline doesn't make it pseudoscience, but how people uh, uh, defend it, like psychology is. The two opposite theories can also be used to explain the same situation. He gives several examples, right? So Adler's theory, individual psychology, or maybe Sigmund Freud's theory, both the theories can be used in this same explanation, same example, which are totally contradictory. Two contradictory examples can be explained using same theory sometimes, right? So such examples he gives, and that is how he says that when the theory is very, very flexible, when it can explain everything and anything and everything, that is a characteristic of a weak theory. And that is what in Ayurveda also is happening. We can explain, using Tridosha theory, people try to explain anything and everything. So when anything and everything can be explained by a theory, then it becomes irrefutable. And irrefutability, as many might think that irrefutable theory should be a strong theory. No, irrefutability is a sign of very weak theory. A theory should be refutable. In principle, it should be refutable. That is called falsification. A good theory, a strong theory, should be falsifiable. If a theory is not falsifiable, if it can explain anything and everything, then it becomes a weak theory. But of course, when a theory gets falsified, being falsified and being falsifiable are two different things. Once a theory becomes falsified, then it is completely wrong theory, right? It needs modification. But if a theory doesn't lend itself to falsification, then that theory becomes a very weak theory. Hope you are following what I'm saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, these are certain important aspects
Just
that we
like you,
must
whatever you have mentioned, that Newton and Einstein gravitational concept,
exactly.
whatever the AI advances are there nowadays, they are supporting Einstein's theory. So Newton's theory is falsifiable. It is not
Exactly.
falsified, but it is
Exactly.
falsifiable.
Falsifiable. Right. 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 So, and of course, the Newtonian physics or classical physics and quantum physics, they are two opposite things, right? One explains the phenomena at a large scale, and quantum physics explain the phenomena at a very small scale. But still, they are contradictory. Many of the classical physical laws, they cannot explain quantum physics, and still physics is still in search of unified theory. It is not yet, no, it is still in search of it. So that is how science is, and we should be comfortable to say that okay, many of things we do not know, or many of the theories are have been falsified. Many of the Ayurvedic theories and Tridosha theory, it cannot predict each and everything in the current context. In historical context, yes, it has good predictive power and good explanatory power, definitely. But today, when we have so many advances like hormones, endocrine diseases, they did not have access to endocrinology. They could have only seen that okay, this is the obesity. So obesity can be because of so many reasons. Now we know that obesity can be due to Cushing's syndrome. It may be due to maybe aldosterone, or sorry, this insulin resistance. There are so many possibilities where hypothyroidism, so many diseases can manifest with the same symptom. So that same symptom can be categorized as kapha symptom or pitta symptom as per Ayurveda. But that is that becomes very vague in this. Today we cannot rely on that theory for complete diagnosis. Okay, we can rely it to certain extent for treatment, because if you have diagnosed a case to be of particular disease, particular pathology, and then particular symptoms, okay, then you can classify, okay, but here we can possibly we can use kapha treatment, pitta treatment or whatever. But without understanding the physiology or pathology, you cannot come to the conclusion, because these theories are that way have become weak over the period of time because of the advancement of other sciences. So they have become weak, and these we need to acknowledge this weakness of these theories, and then only we will be progressive. Otherwise we are always defending our theories, and we keep saying that everything can be explained with our theories, then we make Ayurveda really pseudoscience. So that is something that I wanted to drive in today's lectures. That is an important point, because many common people and many uh, even educated people, they do not get to see this so closely. They cannot get to see this you know uh, clearly. This clarity is often lacking, and that is why if you understand that Ayurvedic theories were built using these scientific methods, then again the other extremist argument also will collapse, saying that our theories are complete in their own. And modern science cannot use our theories, or cannot assess or evaluate our medicine. Our medicines are completely different, or our theories are completely different. That argument also collapses. You know, this epistemological autonomy. This is an argument that commonly people use. They say that our methods are completely different. Our knowledge construction is happening, or it happened in a completely different way than the modern science. And hence we cannot use your science to validate our therapies. They use this argument, but this argument is inherently wrong. This builds, or it creates a deep gap between science and Ayurveda, and it acts as a double-edged sword. It one on one hand, it gives Ayurvedic academicians a kind of protective argument, or it gives a protection, saying that they don't need to get into science. No, even if they keep themselves away from science, this kind of an argument makes certain, such kind of efforts legitimate. It legitimizes the Ayurvedic academicians not engaging with modern science, not understanding science. I have seen many Vaidyas saying that I don't look at blood glucose levels. My medicine works in diabetes and I don't want to see the blood glucose levels. But it is unethical, is it not? If the blood sugar levels are not being under controlled, and if you are still are overconfident, and that is unethical. That is not what a patient wants. He wants that his blood sugar should come down, is it not? So this argument, epistemological divide, it gives up, it legitimizes the Ayurvedic people when they do not engage with modern science. At the same time, it makes it enables the modern science people to keep Ayurveda out of the discourse, scientific discourse. They will also say, oh no, your epistemology is completely different, your methods are completely different. Why do you want us to get into your work? We don't want to do research in Ayurveda. So this complete division, the argument for epistemological division or epistemological autonomy, is something that makes Ayurveda and science further, it takes them further away from each other than integrating. So, epistemological division or divide is a wrong argument. And as I have shown that, this epistemology or method of theory construction, method of knowledge construction is completely legitimate and it is completely as per scientific standards. So we cannot say that our epistemology is completely different. People, when they argue this, they do not understand scientific methods, basically. A lack of scientific methods, understanding in scientific methods and philosophy of science makes them argue, put forth certain, these kinds of wrong arguments. And yes, yes,
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
there is a need of intervention of these modern techniques with Ayurveda.
exactly,
At
exactly.
my place, my native is from Jalgaon, sir. Right now, I am
Mm,
serving in Latur, but
mhm,
there is a doctor Gujarati.
mhm,
So he is having 3, 4 patents on his name. So he
mhm,
is having that intervention. He is trying to
mhm,
incorporate the modern sciences in his Ayurveda practices. Actually, I was suffering from a Sjogren syndrome, which is
mhm.
1% in a world.
Oh,
So
oh,
I
oh,
my skin was become so black and all these things. I had treatment at his clinic.
oh,
The
oh.
medicines were not helping me, allopathic medicines.
Mhm, mhm,
So
mhm.
my skin color and all these things are my confidence is rebuilt by these
Oh, very
Ayurvedic
nice.
medicines.
Wonderful,
So he
wonderful,
has developed some devices also and some techniques also and patented it. So such
wonderful, wonderful.
advancement should be there.
Exactly, exactly, exactly. Right, right. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, those details. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sir.
now coming to our work, because 1 hour I spoke of Ayurveda. Now, remaining half an hour or so, I think it is 1.5 hours slot, is it not?
Sir,
Or
it
is
is
it
up
Sir,
to
it is up to
12:30.
12:30.
12:30.
up to 12:30? Yeah. So, okay. So now let me share with you what we are doing, right? Our experiences with this e-learning and all that. So let me share with you two of our websites that we have built. 1 minute.
As per as our chemistry is concerned, sir, we have taken this part of Ayurveda in our IKS, IKS
Ah,
syllabus, Indian Knowledge System
nice,
syllabus.
nice, nice, nice. Okay. So you have gone through this. You are acquainted with whatever has spoken.
Yes, sir.
Nice, nice. So this is the website that we have built, ayurvedanetworkbhu.com, where we have hosted more than 500 video lectures and then several articles, audio lectures and ebooks. So many things. We are doing this for last since 2019. We have started this actually, 18 onwards, but 19 onwards we started working. So currently it is, we have stopped receiving funds, so not very active, but otherwise we received funding from HRD, MHRD, in the, Ministry of Education. They funded us for developing a website and hosting the content related to education, right? We developed an Ayurvedic network of 50 experts from all over India. That is how we began. And we asked them to come to BHU, record their lectures, and then we transcripted those lectures, and then we also uploaded in the text format also. We have got a YouTube channel, we have got Facebook page, all that. So we have more than 20,000 followers on our YouTube channel. So people, Ayurvedic doctors and students, they regularly watch our videos, and so that is one important work that we have done in the area of education of Ayurveda, right? Especially online education. We have also conducted several webinars and other workshops, maybe Facebook live programs, YouTube live, all that we keep doing. So those who are interested, they might be interested to go through this website and also our YouTube channel, because all those videos that appear on our website, they're actually hosted on YouTube. But the user interface, it appears as though it is directly on the website, but it is actually we have uploaded them on YouTube. So this is one important work that we have done. I am the coordinator of this Ayurvedic network. Initially, it was funded by Ministry of Education, and then after 2 years, of course, COVID came in between. When the COVID came, we were actually stuck. We did not know what to do because our experts, they could not travel. Then we asked we taught our experts to record their videos, and also to edit them, and then we started learning editing, audio video editing we learned. And then we hosted so many videos during the COVID lockdown, and our channel was one of the important channels that continued educating Ayurvedic students, especially in Ayurvedic education. We did a lot of work during COVID lockdown, actually. So many views and subscribers we earned during COVID. And we taught our experts how to record videos, how to edit them. And if they were unable to edit, we asked them to share it with us, and then we started editing. We learned so many things. I can edit almost all videos and audio editing. I learned using simple online open access softwares without having to pay any subscribe and all that. So this is one important work, and one important book that we published is available on this website. I'll share that link also. Book release here. This was released recently, actually, in the month of April or so. So click. See, this is the link. Yeah, I'll share the link with you. Actually, after we completed our assignment or project of MHRD or education, then because it was basically sponsored under uh, NMTT, Mahamana Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teaching and Teachers, Teachers and Teaching. So NMTT project, under this project we were funded. Then Minister of Education decided to stop that project, all of a sudden. Then we did not receive funding. Then we requested the Minister of Ayush to fund us. Then Minister of Ayush through Rashtriya Ayurved Vidyapith, they have got another project called Ayurgyan scheme. So under Ayurgyan scheme, we continued our work for 2 more years. So since 2024 April, this we have stopped working on it because we are expecting the further funding from Ministry of Ayush, but we have not yet received. But once we receive, we will resume our work. So this book that we have published was actually derived out of the lecture series that Professor Muralidhar Sharma from Udupi, he is a very well-known Ayurvedic practitioner. He gave several lectures for us when several of them were uh, live and several of them were recorded, and we hosted them, and then we prepared transcripts, and then we sent it for peer review and all that. And finally we could publish it as an ebook, which is open access format. Which is in open access format. No MRP is there. Anybody can download and read it, and it is very helpful for our Ayurvedic practitioners. They are finding it very helpful because he has shared his experiences of more than 40 years, and that is one of our important contributions, I would say. Then third recent work that we have started is another very interesting thing. I will share that also. Uh, yeah, this clinicaltheory.org. This is a recently launched website, which is a completely innovative kind of thing. Uh, we we were thinking of how to communicate this Ayurvedic theories in scientific way. How to show that these were not pseudoscience and all that. How to do that? To how to make public aware of what is actually science and how Ayurvedic theories are scientific, and of course some of them are wrong also. Yeah? So this critical appraisal, critical thinking is what we wanted to encourage. And this is currently lacking in Ayurvedic education. Right? Ayurvedic academicians, they don't tell their students that Tridosha theory may not work in all cases. Right? They do not discuss this at all. They teach as though it is the complete final truth. This is the problem with Ayurvedic education. So we started writing a series of episodes of dialogues in the form of stories. We are imagining Charaka Sushruta uh, as though they are teaching their students. We are imagining their classrooms 2000 years ago, using their patients. Because in Charaka Sushruta, we don't get any patient histories. Case histories are not mentioned. And case histories are, interestingly, they are found in Tripitaka. In Buddhist literature, you get Ayurvedic case histories. Many case histories are recorded. But in Ayurveda, surprisingly, in Ayurvedic classical textbooks, you don't get case histories. So what we did was we imagined the cases, like Sushruta must have seen this case or this patient presenting with this symptom, and then he would have treated him using this principle, and then he would have constructed this theory, or maybe he would have sent his students on an expedition, and then he would have talked to him and asked him to observe universe. Then they would have come up with some answers, some questions. We have imagined these kinds of imaginary scenarios. We have reconstructed. Basically, this is where we are reconstructing Ayurvedic theories using the reasoning and tools that were available to ancient scholars. So each episode has got two layers. One is where Charaka is teaching his students, dramatized kind of thing, but again factual. Factual in the sense the theories are factual, but the scenario is imagined, right? The principles are true, right? So where Charaka is teaching his students, and then after that, there are three teenagers of current era, right? 21st century teenagers who want to become doctors in future, but they are still confused whether to learn Ayurveda, whether to get into MBBS, all that. So they approach one Ayurvedic physician, one of the uncles of one of these three uh, teenagers. So they go to him and then they discuss these lessons, right? It is a story kind of thing. So it starts with when they are searching for some reading material for the project in the library. They find a book which is completely mysterious, without any mentioning of author, title, nothing is there. And these lessons are there, right? Charaka teaching his students or Sushruta teaching his students. Then they take this book and then they read these chapters, and then they go to this doctor and then they discuss whether this is true, or whether how much of it is true, how much of it is scientific, what is not scientific, or whatever, right? So all this is in the form of dialogues, and people are finding it interesting. And currently, as of now, we have published 24 episodes totally, for 14 plus 14, so 28 actually, yeah. So 28 14 lessons and 14 reflections. We call it reflections. So those of you who are interested, maybe those who come from biology background or medicine background, or maybe science background in general, I'm sure you will find this work useful, because those who are interested in Ayurveda, they will find this work useful. And this is another, a completely new kind of teaching learning method that we have invented. So far, no such attempt was made. So these are certain things that I wanted to share with you. Teaching learning methods, because that is the major theme of today's work. I mean, to this workshop or whatever, this course, and this is how we are doing it. I think with this I should conclude my talk, and then remaining 10 minutes maybe we can have discussion or question and answer session. Yeah, thank you for patient listening and engaging with me positively. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this session. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Dr. Alka Mishra here.
Yeah.
Thank
Hello.
you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, your lecture was, sir, just eye-opening lecture, sir, especially for Ayurveda fraternity as well as for common person
Thank you.
also.
Thank you so much.
So it was so nice, and I heard it mindfully, sir. And sir, just I want to say my point regarding this. Sir, may I speak in Hindi because
हाँ बिल्कुल
is it
बिल्कुल
more?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बात करिए हाँ बिल्कुल
I
बिल्कुल
feel
हाँ
yes,
एब्सोल्युटली
yes, sir.
हाँ
सर, क्यों ये आयुर्वेद आज के समय में मतलब एक कॉमन पर्सन इसको एक्सेप्ट, वही जो आपने सूडो साइंस और सबकी बात करी, मतलब एक्सेप्ट क्यों नहीं कर पा रहा है? शायद उसके पीछे का रीजन क्या ये नहीं हो सकता कि केवल कुछ जैसे नहीं वैद्यास कुछ बीएमएस जो करते हैं उनके हाथ में है? मतलब इसको अगर हम मतलब हमारा जो एकदम रूट एजुकेशन मतलब नर्सरी केजी फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड वहां से इसको स्टार्ट हम क्यों नहीं कर सकते हैं? हम मेडिसिन की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, पर जैसे स्वस्थ वृत्त वाला पोर्शन नहीं है, टिप्स फॉर हेल्दी लिविंग एंड टू प्रिवेंट हाउ वी कैन प्रिवेंट
करेक्ट
डिजीजेज एंड
बिल्कुल
ऑल दोज
बिल्कुल
थिंग्स। सर, तो एक तो ये चीज है कि शायद ये रीजन है कि हम वहां से स्टार्ट नहीं कर रहे हैं इसलिए नहीं। और जो लोग बीएमएस करते भी हैं आफ्टर ट्वेल्थ या आफ्टर ग्रेजुएशन लाइक दिस, तो उनका माइंड उस तरह से सेटअप हो चुका होता है नहीं मॉडर्न मेडिसिन और उन सब के लिए,
एग्जैक्टली
तो वो उतना अच्छे से उस चीज को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं क्योंकि अक्सर मतलब एक ये प्रॉब्लम ही है कि हमने भी बीएमएस में एडमिशन इसीलिए लिया था क्योंकि एमबीबीएस नहीं मिला था।
जी जी बिल्कुल
तो
बिल्कुल जी
लेकिन
जी
फिर जब ये आयुर्वेद पढ़ा और इसको एक्सेप्ट किया तो मतलब उसके बाद कभी भी एलोपैथ मेडिसिन को टच
हम्म
नहीं किया है।
हम्म हम्म, हम्म,
तो मतलब वो जब इसमें उतरते हैं तब उसकी रियल इंपॉर्टेंस समझ आती है। तो सर, इसके लिए हम लोग आज के समय में जो ई लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म्स इतने गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से इतना सपोर्ट किया जा रहा है, जैसे स्वयं है, मूक कोर्सेज हैं, जब हम उनमें जाते हैं, उनमें उतर के सर्च करते समय एक सिंगल कोर्स आयुर्वेद का नहीं मिलता है।
एग्जैक्टली
यहाँ पे एक बहुत बड़ी लैकिंग है। तो सर,
एग्जैक्टली
उसको उस गैप को हम कैसे फुलफिल कर सकते हैं ताकि इसकी आउटरीच बढ़े और न केवल आयुर्वेद फ्रेटर्निटी के बीच में बल्कि नॉन आयुर्वेदा कम्युनिटी जो इसके लिए इतनी इंटरेस्टेड है, लाइक नहीं कुंदन सर ने बताया कि उनका इतना अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस है, तो मतलब इस
बिल्कुल
तरह के
बिल्कुल
लोग मेरे ख्याल से डेफिनेटली इसकी तरफ अट्रैक्ट होंगे और कुछ बेसिक कोर्सेज करने में इंटरेस्टेड भी होंगे, बट उनको वो
बिल्कुल
प्लेटफॉर्म तो मिले। तो वो
एग्जैक्टली
चीज हम लोग कैसे आगे के समय में कर सकते हैं?
एक्चुअली
जी सर।
नहीं थैंक यू अच्छा बहुत अच्छे सवाल है आपके और बहुत सही है ये इसका स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड एक आंसर में जवाब नहीं हो सकता क्योंकि सिचुएशन इज कॉम्प्लेक्स क्योंकि आयुर्वेद को एज अ साइंस ना हम लोग ना हम उसको प्रोजेक्ट कर पा रहे हैं और ना हमारे स्टूडेंट्स उसको परसीव करते हैं इसलिए इवन मैं बीएचयू में होते हुए भी हमारे यहाँ बीएचयू में बीएमएस में एडमिशन लेने के बाद हर साल कम से कम 10 से 15 लोग एमबीबीएस में फिर से अगले साल चले जाते हैं क्योंकि ये अट्रैक्टिव नहीं लगता उनको ये कोर्स उनको लगता है कि ये पता नहीं क्या पढ़ाया जा रहा है हमको संस्कृत पढ़ना पड़ रहा है और पुरानी चीजें पढ़ाई जा रही हैं और उसका साइंस है या नहीं साइंटिफिक तरीके से नहीं पढ़ाया जा रहा है सो कई सारी चीजें हैं जो आयुर्वेद की जो जो स्टूडेंट्स अपने आप में जो है आयुर्वेद को एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं तो बाहर बाहर के लोगों को तो बहुत दूर की बात है और बाहर के लोगों के पास जो जा रहा है आयुर्वेद वो बहुत डिस्टॉर्टेड वे में जा रहा है स्पेशली जो ये आजकल ये आ रहा है ना ये सोशल मीडिया क्या यूट्यूबर्स या क्या बोलते हैं उनको जो
यस सर।
इन्फ्लुएंसर्स सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स
हाँ सर, उस पे इतनी
ये
गलत
सब
इंफॉर्मेशन।
सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम में है
जी
आयुर्वेद के प्रति ये लोग सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स कुछ भी है ना ये जूस पियो वो खाओ सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा सब पता नहीं सब कुछ डायबिटीज ठीक करेंगे हर चीज ठीक करेंगे ऐसे तो ठीक नहीं है ना ये ये इस पर मुझे लगता है कभी कभी ये चाइना में जो बोला है, अभी फिलहाल कुछ रूल आया है कि
हाँ,
डॉक्टर्स के बिना
चाइना में
और
किया
कोई,
है सर उन्होंने।
हाँ, कुछ हेल्थ के रिलेटेड या, है ना, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन कोई नहीं दे सकता है, कोई भी सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंसर्स जो है। इस तरह से कुछ तो रेगुलेशन इंडिया में आना चाहिए क्योंकि अदरवाइज बहुत मिसलीडिंग इंफॉर्मेशन सोशल मीडिया के थ्रू जा रही है, और वो अच्छा नहीं है ना, ना किसी भी साइंस के लिए अच्छा नहीं है वो, है ना। तो बहुत गलत तरीकों से उसको जो
सर तो
परोसा
यहाँ
जा रहा
पे
है
हम
आयुर्वेद।
लोगों का रोल, आयुर्वेदा फ्रेटर्निटी का रोल और ज्यादा बढ़ जाता है ना, कि हम लोग सही
एग्जैक्टली
इंफॉर्मेशन
तो, हाँ
भेजें,
एग्जैक्टली तो,
और जो ऑथेंटिक प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं
हाँ,
उनके थ्रू इंफॉर्मेशन
बिल्कुल
जाए, लाइक
तो,
स्वयं।
हाँ बिल्कुल जाना चाहिए, बिल्कुल जाना चाहिए। हम लोग यहाँ बीएचयू में एक्चुअली हमारे यहाँ स्वयं का एक है सेल है, और हम लोग, हमारे यहाँ कई सारे स्वयं के कोर्सेज चल रहे हैं। तो हम लोगों का एक प्रपोजल है, अभी देखते हैं क्या होता है, क्योंकि हम लोग आयुर्वेद को यहाँ फिलहाल हम बीए, बीएससी, बीकॉम और जितने भी यहाँ ग्रेजुएट कोर्सेज हैं बीएचयू में, हर एक ग्रेजुएट कोर्स के फर्स्ट ईयर में आयुर्वेद को कंपलसरी किया है अभी फिलहाल। तो ये एक बहुत अच्छा स्टेप मानता हूं मैं, है ना। इवन विजुअल आर्ट्स में हो, या चाहे भरतनाट्यम सीख रहा हो कोई, चाहे लॉ लॉ कॉलेज में सीख रहा हो, चाहे कोई एग्रीकल्चर में हो, हर जगह हर एक यूजी स्टूडेंट के एक यू फर्स्ट ईयर के कोर्स में 2 सेमेस्टर का आयुर्वेद का कोर्स हम लोगों ने इंट्रोड्यूस किया है। तो हम लोग जा रहे हैं, है ना, हम लोग बीए, बीएससी, बीकॉम सब सभी बच्चों को पढ़ाते हैं। ये एक इस तरह की चीज, थोड़ी सी बेसिक आयुर्वेद का नॉलेज, आपने सही कहा, चाहे हाई स्कूल लेवल में, चाहे चाहे यूजी लेवल में, चाहे वो देना
Sir,
चाहिए।
sir, I have a question.
जी श्योर।
Uh, sir, why try to uh, use scientific methods uh, to an alternative medicine? Wouldn't it lose its identity? And if we are going to use scientific rigor and tests of falsifiability, why not use it on the core assumptions of Ayurveda, like Panchama
Absolutely,
Bhutas and
absolutely,
dosha theory?
absolutely. Completely agree. I completely agree with you, right? So that is how we should start. The testing of these theories should be done, of course. But along with that, also it is essential for us to build evidence. Without evidence, you cannot survive. At least, okay, we say that, okay, Ayurvedic physician may treat or may prescribe different things to different people suffering from same disease. Maybe 10 patients suffering from same disease might receive 10 different interventions by Ayurvedic physician, because he looks into so many other factors, not only disease, right? He looks at his prakriti, he looks at his digestive capacity, agni, or he looks at his koshtha, the bowel movements. He looks at his overall bala. No, there are so many factors that an Ayurvedic physician ideally should consider while prescribing. So this has become an argument that Ayurvedic people use to say that no, this we cannot generate evidence, or we cannot use scientific methods to generate evidence. But this is not true. But this is not true, right? Scientific rigor can be used to evaluate Ayurvedic medical interventions, to document the evidence. And that is very essential. Okay, you may see that, okay, this Prakriti person, this Koshtha, this Agni, then in this person, how does this medicine works? That can be done, even if it is, individualized. But if you have individualized the patients, accordingly you can give the prescriptions, and then you can test them. So using, maybe, if not double blind randomized clinical trials, you can go for observational studies. Irrespective of what treatment you are receiving, long term observational studies will be useful for coming to a conclusion. And this is also scientific.
Sir, I
Many
would like
many
to add, in
Yes.
my case, the allopathy doctor has suggested many tests. I was going to many doctors, but it was not diagnosable. One of the doctor at Pune, he suggested me some blood test. When it is confirmed, then I have gone to Ayurvedic also for
Correct, correct,
seeking the treatment. So this
correct,
intervention is needed.
correct, exactly,
Yeah, we have
exactly.
to avail the modern techniques also.
Exactly. Otherwise, you need not get into the mechanistic details, molecular level of action of your Chyawanprash, of your, this is not required. That will take hundreds of years. If you start evaluating each component of, the Shimula Arishta, and take out each molecule, each active principle, and then how does it work? It is not going to happen. It is not going to happen in our lifetimes at least. And that is not required also. Uh, Abhijit, you are right in this context. In this context, you are absolutely right that if you go on digging into the molecular level of mechanisms, cellular level mechanisms of a complex formulation like Dashamularishta or Chyavanprash, we will not get anywhere. Will not get anywhere. But at the same time, it is possible for us to apply scientific rigor to at least see clinically in which clinical condition, in which kind of people, in which kind of condition, what stage of disease our medicines are useful. This is required. This kind of evidence is required. Otherwise, you cannot simply say that alternative medicines can do anything and everything. You cannot give them free hand. Just because they are alternative medicines, you cannot say that they should not be adhering to scientific standards. That is essential. Otherwise, how can you build trust among patients? Because if
Hello,
the
sir.
patient, if the
May I?
patient doesn't, yes, please.
Sir, I want to ask question. The
Yes.
major difference I have found between the Ayurvedic treatment and allopathic, that is the surgery.
See, if you go through Sushruta Samhita, he performed so many surgeries. In ancient times, he had performed so many surgeries using certain methods which have now become outdated. And if surgery can be practiced by modern medicine, modern surgeons are there, and if Ayurveda doesn't have any role in it or much role in it, we should leave it. Okay, certain areas are there where even in surgical branches, certain areas are there where Ayurveda is still contributing, like Shara Sutra, in anal fistula, anal fissure. In such conditions, Ayurveda is better than modern medicine, right? Most of the times. So it is, completely saying that surgery is not there or not being used in Ayurveda. It is wrong. Several good surgeons are there, but we should identify our core strengths. We should identify our core strengths, and then we should focus on those areas, and then we should try to, build up evidence. Even WHO is doing this. It is arguing for evidence building, even in alternative systems of medicine, and I think that is the right way of going ahead. Maybe it will take time, but at least we will know, okay, in which kind of patients, which sets of patients, what kind of
Depend
medicines
up,
are working.
yeah,
Yeah,
depend
that
upon the disease. Yes, sir. Thank you.
exactly. So that,
Hello, sir.
some amount of answerability or accountability has to be there. Otherwise, this, saying that you need not do clinical trials or you need not build up evidence. If you argue this way, then you are giving free hand to people, who can misuse this. That, free hand is also not good. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Maybe, we may differ, of course.
हेलो सर।
Yes, hello.
अभी जो हमारे इधर दो तीन जगह पे जो हिपेटाइटिस है उसके मतलब मेडिसिन आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन देते हैं, वो कोई डॉक्टर नहीं है, मतलब होम रेमेडीज बोल सकते हो उसको, लेकिन वो
समझ
बहुत
गया।
चलते हैं, मतलब बहुत चलते
समझ
हैं। तो
समझ
वैसे ऐसे इंडिया में अभी हुबली एक ये है हमारे इधर, तो उधर भी कैंसर का वो ट्रीटमेंट करते हैं, मतलब आयुर्वेदिक तरीके से करते हैं। तो वो ऐसे ये भी इम्प्रूव होना चाहिए, इसमें टेस्टिंग होना चाहिए एक्चुअली क्या कंटेंट है उसमें। वो हॉस्पिटल में भी हेपेटाइटिस भी हमारे इधर क्योर नहीं होता है, लेकिन उधर जाके एक दिन में वो पेशेंट ठीक हो जाता है। मतलब ऐसा क्यों होता है, मतलब इसके इसके ऊपर भी रिसर्च होना चाहिए, ऐसा मुझे लगता
क्योंकि
है।
अल्टीमेटली देखिए, आयुर्वेद भी अल्टीमेटली इसी तरह से आया है। ये चरक ने भी लिखा है, सुश्रुत ने भी लिखा है कि कैसे उनको ये मेडिसिन पता चला। उन्होंने देखा कि ये गाय चराने वाले या इस तरह के लोग क्या यूज करते हैं, या गाय क्या खाती हैं जब बीमार पड़ती है। सो इस तरह से देख के इन लोगों ने आइडेंटिफाई किए हैं मेडिसिन। तो ऐसे ये कहना गलत है कि खाली आयुर्वेदिक जो बढ़ा हुआ है वही उसी को मेडिसिन आती है ना। ये क्योंकि ये कई सारे मेडिसिन ऐसे हमारे कल्चर में आई हुई हैं, हमारे किचन में कई सारे मेडिसिन यूज होती है, चाहे हल्दी हो, चाहे जीरा हो, चाहे शुंठी हो, है ना, अदरक हो। बहुत सारे मेडिसिन, ये सब आयुर्वेदिक मेडिसिन है। लेकिन इसके बारे में, इसकी थियरी के बारे में नहीं पता है हमारे, है ना। घर में जो खाना पकाने वाली है औरतें, उनको ये थियरी थोड़ी ना पता है कि ये वात पर काम करती है, पित्त पर काम करती है, बट दे यूज इट, और उनको बहुत सारा नॉलेज है। ये जो है इस तरह
सर
का नॉलेज
सर
बहुत सारा है, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट नॉलेज है।
sir, I have a friend who is an Ayurvedic practitioner,
हम्म,
Dr. Shripad Joshi. And
Hmm.
he once told me that one of the biggest problems with people is that they think that Ayurveda is going to work some miracles,
Correct.
and
Which is not true.
uh,
Correct.
and
Yes, I can.
uh, he comes across patients who have been suffering from some chronic disease which has not been properly solved by modern medicine. They come to him expecting miracles, and a lot of that is, I think, because of this anecdotal
Exactly.
sort of
Exactly.
evidence.
Exactly. That
Uh,
is where the importance of evidence comes up.
There
These
are lots
people
of
don't.
medicines, sir. They are getting effect. Immediate effect is there also. Means there are lots of things like that.
you know could be there, I don't deny, but this is where we need, in which kind of patients you get good relief and in which kind of patients you don't get. This needs to be documented well, right? Then only we can generalize it. Otherwise, in one patient, one case, this cannot be generalized. So this generalizability will come only when you have got a large number of cases and good documentation. That is what is very essential. Without this, this cannot happen.
There are lots of people also using steroids inside that means Ayurvedic medicines.
Exactly, exactly. That is also there. Antibiotics, steroids, everything is being mixed by several quacks in Ayurvedic medicines, and then they give it. Everything is happening. You know,
Because of
you know.
their faith and Ayurveda, it is get to reduce their.
I know, there are so many things happening. Of course, I mean, this is a huge topic to be debated. And if you're interested, you can go through some of our articles. We have been working on many of these aspects. We have written an article on how to, what is the safety and efficacy of, I mean, safety especially, the toxicity issues of Ayurveda, like lead toxicity or heavy metal toxicity. How to address this? How should I? Now, how should we go about it? And all this we have done. Yes, somebody has shared on paper, I think. Yes.
Sir, this is my paper. Actually, during COVID time, we
Hmm.
worked in collaboration with IT Delhi. So,
Oh,
sir, so COVID patients, so this is telemedicine based case
oh,
series. So,
oh,
सर
oh,
जस्ट
oh,
ये
oh.
बताना चाह रहे थे कि इस पेपर को पब्लिश करने में 1 साल लगभग टाइम लगा
Oh,
और
लगता है
10
हाँ.
से 12 रिसर्च जर्नल्स ने डिनाई किया,
रिजेक्ट
क्योंकि
किया.
वही जो शुरुआत में अभिजीत सर ने पॉइंट रेज किया था कि मॉडर्न साइंस मतलब वो लोग एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर पाते हैं कि
करेक्ट, करेक्ट,
ये
करेक्ट,
एक
करेक्ट.
हमारी साइंस की तरह। तो सर 10 स्कोपस में ही पब्लिश्ड है और 10 इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर से हम लोगों ने स्टार्ट किया था, लेकिन अल्टीमेटली इम्पैक्ट फैक्टर 1 में जाकर के ये
IJTK
पब्लिश
में
हुआ है।
समझ गए. हाँ,
वही
ऐसा
बहुत
होता है, वो
मुश्किल
होता है,
से।
वो ऐसा होता है.
तो,
हाँ.
तो सर
तो
ये
वो ये लर्निंग ऐसा ही होता है. हमारे भी ऐसे ही पेपर्स हमेशा रिजेक्ट होते रहते हैं.
सर
तो नेचुरल
सर
है.
तभी हम लोगों ने अब यहाँ पे वही जब से एनईपी आया है सर, एनईपी ने इतनी फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी दी है, वही मेजर माइनर जो बैचलर्स में हम लोग कर
करेक्ट.
सकते हैं। तो सर हम लोग यहाँ अब माइनर में आयुर्वेदा को इंट्रोड्यूस किया है, आयुर्वेदा एंड होलिस्टिक हेल्थ के नाम
ओह
से।
ओह, ये बहुत
सब
अच्छी
माइन
बात है.
हाँ सब तो
कहाँ,
पूरे
कौन सी
चार्ट।
यूनिवर्सिटी में, कौन सी यूनिवर्सिटी में?
सर ये हरिद्वार में है, देव संस्कृति विश्वविद्यालय,
ओ ओ ओ
हरिद्वार
ओ ओ
उत्तराखंड।
ओ ओके.
सर शांति कुंज की जो यूनिवर्सिटी
हाँ
है।
हाँ 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 हाँ,
हाँ हाँ,
जानता
डॉक्टर
हूँ,
चिन्मय
जानता हूँ.
पांड्या सर काफी
ओके.
जी। तो हम लोगों का तो
ओहो.
पूरा आईकेएस बेस्ड यूनिवर्सिटी ही है। और
करेक्ट, करेक्ट, करेक्ट.
माइनर में वही जब से इसको इंट्रोड्यूस किया है, ये थर्ड ईयर है, 3 साल हो चुके हैं,
ओ ओ
2023 से स्टार्ट हुआ था।
ओ.
तो सर इतना चेंजेस हम लोग देख रहे हैं स्टूडेंट्स में, क्योंकि इसमें कंप्यूटर साइंस का भी है, एनिमेशन का, साइकोलॉजी का, डिफरेंट डिफरेंट फील्ड के
करेक्ट, करेक्ट,
बच्चे
करेक्ट.
माइनर्स
ये अच्छी
ऑप्ट
बात है ये.
करते हैं। तो सर उनको जो जैसे कंप्यूटर साइंस का स्टूडेंट नहीं डिप्रेशन में जा रहा है, हमेशा कंप्यूटर के सामने बैठा है, उसको हेल्थ इश्यूज हो रहे हैं, तो सर वो आयुर्वेदा के जरिए अपने हेल्थ इश्यूज को रिजॉल्व कर रहा है। और उसको इतना इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है कि अब वो इवन यहाँ तक आते आते वो बच्चे ये बोलते हैं कि मैम हमको अब इसी में अपना कैरियर बनाना है, तो हम क्या कर सकते हैं। तो सर ये भी एक बहुत बड़ा मतलब एक इशू है कि जो बच्चे दूसरे फील्ड के हैं वो अगर इसमें अपना कैरियर बनाना चाहें, तो खैर एनईपी ने इन सब चीजों की फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी
करेक्ट,
दी
करेक्ट.
है
ये
और
अच्छी
हम
बात
लोग
है.
भी कोशिश
वेलफेयर
कर रहे हैं कि इन
एनईपी में
चीजों
ही
को
भाई
आगे
हम लोगों
बढ़ाएं।
ने भी, हमारे यहाँ भी भाई एनईपी के थ्रू वैल्यू
जी
एडेड कोर्स में हम लोग दे रहे हैं आयुर्वेद को, हर एक यूजी प्रोग्राम को, हर एक को पढ़ना है आजकल. ये
सर
अच्छी
उस
बात है थोड़ा बहुत।
जी सर, उसके अलावा हम लोगों के स्टूडेंट्स वही आईआईटी दिल्ली में जो मतलब पीएचडी वगैरह भी कर रहे हैं, तो उनके साथ वही कोलैबोरेशन के साथ हम लोग इन चीजों पे मतलब काम कर रहे हैं जितनी हो पा रही है। और शायद ये कोर्स भी रिफ्रेशर कोर्स भी इसीलिए ज्वाइन किया कि इसमें ई लर्निंग के जरिए और मेथोडोलॉजीज टेक्निक्स को सीखें और इन कोर्सेज को ई लर्निंग प्लेटफॉर्म पे आगे लेकर के जाएं। तो ये और सर ड्यूरिंग कोविड टाइम वही गूगल साइट के थ्रू स्टूडेंट्स के साथ में शेयर करते थे चीजें, तो अब उसी को थोड़ा एडवांस लेवल पे लेके जाना है। सर आप सब लोगों का सपोर्ट और कॉपरेशन बहुत
आपके वहाँ आपका
है।
आयुर्वेदिक कॉलेज भी है क्या आपकी यूनिवर्सिटी में?
नहीं सर, आयुर्वेद कॉलेज नहीं है,
नहीं है
डिपार्टमेंट
ना?
है इसमें एक। हाँ
ओके,
ये
तो
कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी।
आयुर्वेद के कोर्स भी चलते हैं क्या? नहीं।
सर इसीलिए हम लोग मेन स्ट्रीम में आयुर्वेद नहीं चला सकते, इसीलिए माइनर में इंट्रोड्यूस किया है। हाँ
ओके, तो
सर,
कई सारे
हॉस्पिटल तो
फैसिलिटीज है
है।
अच्छा, आयुर्वेद का हॉस्पिटल है, ओके।
हाँ नहीं,
तो
आयुर्वेद का नहीं,
इंटरेस्टिंग है, अच्छा।
हॉस्पिटल तो मॉडर्न का ही है, उसमें आयुर्वेद का
अच्छा,
एक
उसमें
सेक्शन है।
उसमें आयुर्वेद है, अच्छा, ओके ओके, ठीक
सेक्शन
है
है,
ठीक
तो
है
जो आयुर्वेदिक
ठीक है।
डॉक्टर्स हैं वो वहाँ पे अपनी सर्विसेज देते हैं
अच्छी बात है, अच्छी
शांति
बात है,
कुंज में।
बहुत अच्छी
जी
बात
सर।
है, अच्छा लग रहा है, हाँ।
Thank you
सर
for your guidance, sir. Dr. Romani Sen, ma'am, please propose.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the organizing committee, it is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to our esteemed speaker for today. So your talk really helped us cut through the extreme and often polarizing notions that we see around Ayurveda in popular media and popular understanding. By situating Ayurveda within a broader conceptual framework of science and scientific inquiry, you offered us a nuanced perspective. Your explanation of why Ayurveda is sometimes labeled as a pseudoscience was especially helpful, sir. Thank you for sharing the e-resources and for guiding us towards a more balanced and informed understanding of Ayurveda and science in general. We are very grateful to you, sir, for sharing your expertise and insights with us. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot,
Thank you
Patwardhan,
so
sir.
much. Thank you so much. Hope my talk was not out of context.
No, sir. It
Not
No,
at
was
all,
sir.
good.
sir.
Okay,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much,
much.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Bye, bye.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now I request roll number 70 to introduce our guest. Our guest has joined. Professor Shashank Sonwane, sir, is there.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Sumaya Khatib, Assistant Professor
Ma'am,
from the department.
whether you are audible
Yeah.
or not, please check. Dr. Shashank, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Okay. Now
Am I
you.
audible, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible.
Thank you. I'm Dr. Sumaya Khatib, Assistant Professor from the Department of Zoology at GM Women's College, Bhiwandi. First, I would like to express my sincere thanks to Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Marathwada University, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Nagar, UGC Malviya Mission Teachers Training Center, coordinator and the co-coordinator of the program, and the entire organizing team for giving me this opportunity. It is my distinct honor and a privilege to introduce our esteemed resource person for this session, Professor Dr. Shashank Sonwane, sir. Sir has a diverse portfolio of experience. He is currently serving as a professor in the Department of Library and Information Science at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University since 1999. Beyond his tenure here, he is serving as a visiting scientist at DRTC since 2012 and has worked as information scientist with the Bokart Research Center. Sir has also worked as a research associate with Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. A prolific academician, Sir has authored 15 books and 86 book chapters. His extensive research includes more than 210 articles in national and international journals and conference proceedings. He also actively shapes the field as a co-editor, associate editor, and editorial board members for various journals. Under his guidance, 52 students were awarded MPhil and 21 were awarded PhD degree, whereas 8 students are currently pursuing PhD. His contributions have been recognized with the Shikshak Pratibha Puruskar, Ravi Painter Ranjan Gaonkar Gold Medal and Anant Narayan Gore Award. Furthermore, he has shared his vast expertise as a resource person in over 37 programs, including numerous refresher courses and workshops. With his deep expertise in library automation, scientometric, and knowledge management, we are truly fortunate to have him guide us today. Sir, we look forward to learning from your vast knowledge. Please join me in welcoming Professor Shashank Sonwane, sir. Now, I would like to request sir to take over the session.
Thank
Over
you
to
for
you, sir.
very elaborative introduction. Actually, I'm not that much big person. I am just an academician. Uh, Let us start with the topic what I have been given today. It's open education resources. As I have been told that this particular program is basically for the e-governance, right? So I thought that this particular topic is very much relevant in this scenario. So I would be talking about the open educational resources for the research purpose. I have learned that many of them are already the PhD holders, but there are maximum who are still in pipeline of the research. So it would be very much helpful for them. So as you know that this rapid change in the technology, uh, myself, I started with the monocomputer in 1993, which was having a black screen and a white dot running on the screens. And now we have a technology in our palm, that is your handsets, isn't it? So there is a vast and very rapid change in the society, and what we called it as an information society. And this change has not only in the technology, but the change has come with the higher education itself. Now we see that after this pandemic, we know that we have to be a very student centric. We have to bring a student centered paradigm and the new learning and the teaching approaches, which can be reconceptualized, and our role and responsibilities have been widened nowadays. And in this particular context, we should think always in a very different perspective. Okay, we need not have to think that what all people are thinking. We should move away and we should think it differently, that how we can reach towards our students scenario. At this particular thing, you can just have view of this graphic. This is again a trend in the technology. We were having a very bulky type of monitors of the our computers, and now it has become thin. And previously the human being was very much active, and now because everything is in our hands, we do not have to move anywhere. The same scenario now also what you are witnessing in this particular class. Okay, you are sitting in your own spaces, you are accessing through your mobiles, you are accessing through your laptops, you are accessing through your desktops. Previously this type of programs used to be physically in the particular of the HRDC or the nowadays what is called as a MMTC centers. And you can see that nowadays you need not have to be very much what you can call as that you have to go through some crash courses of learning the technology, isn't it? People nowadays, the babies are born with a silver spoon, and your 2 3 months child, if you give him a mobile with the voice recognition, they can just browse and they can call. They are not having any crash courses. What we used to do, like we used to go for the MSc IT courses. Myself itself, I am a batch student of 1993, where I used to learn the COBOL, the basic, and this type of programs. But nowadays, voice recognition, and then the visual recognition, and what not all the recognition type people, they are learning from the womb of the mother itself. So this is how the evolution of technology is being impacted. And sometimes people might think that you need not have to get married. Okay, people will say that okay, the device has been attached and the babies will be born in the devices itself. So jokes apart, okay, so nowadays my Wi-Fi, okay, if see everyone nowadays are sitting with the mobiles in the hand when we are having a lunch time or we are having a dinner time in our home also. If the Wi-Fi gets disconnected, then only people think that okay, we have a family, we should talk with them. So such an impact we have of these particular things, and this is every time we think that my internet is only slow, and when we look towards others internet, it is much more faster than our own internet. And this is now what we see in the today's scenario. I go for a morning walk many a times, and I see that people talk themselves. Okay, so then when we pass through them and when we look at them, we will see that okay, they are having something put in their ears like birds or something, and they are talking. Previously, if someone talks like this, people used to say, "अरे पागल है क्या? अकेले ही बात कर रहा है ना?" But nowadays, people say that no, no, he might be having a Wi-Fi, he's talking with the earbuds, or he's having some type of technology that he is talking on the mobiles. So see, people have become so much literate. There is a difference between this the generations. Okay, so this was a biggest joke. Okay, previously people used to think that computers and mobiles were invented to save our time. It has become the joke of the century now. Okay, people are taking much more time in computers and the mobiles nowadays rather than talking with personally, isn't it? So what we have come out with is that when people are so much with the technology, living with the technology, eating with the technology, sleeping with the technology, why not we should come with the resources which they are using the devices. From the devices itself we can give access to them. So the UNESCO has come out with the concept of what is called as in the OER, that is an open educational resources. See, everywhere nowadays we can see whenever we meet with another colleagues of various institutions or the universities, everywhere we are facing the same problem that students present is not up to the mark in the classrooms. Okay, it is not only up to the university, in every institute, in every colleges, you will find the same thing, because people are nowadays very much dependent on the technology, the devices, what they are having. So the UNESCO came out with the concept of open educational resources so that you need not have to be worried about, you can easily give them access to their own devices. So what is this OER? OER is nothing but the open educational resources. So for what it is used? It is used for teaching, it is used for learning, it is used for research material. So it might be any medium. It might be digital or otherwise, whatever reside in the public domain. You have to release them under an open license so that you can permit no cost access, use, adaptation, and redistribution by others with no or a very limited restrictions. Okay, so that it can be used and it can be utilized. So this idea came into 2002, where the term open educational resources was first emerged. And nowadays it has increasingly been recognized by the international community. Okay, what we think, this is a very new term for us. You just go back, and it is 2002 term. So people have such a big vision about the educational paradigm that they are thinking 25, 20 years before that what will be coming up. So this is nothing but an innovative tool for meeting the challenges of providing the lifelong learning opportunities for the learners from the diverse level. And these are the modes of the education worldwide, not only in India. So is OER same as e-learning? See, there are many conceptions, misconceptions about the terminologies. So one should be very much clear. OER is not at all a synonymous term of online learning or e-learning. So although many people make a mistake of using the same change for interchangeability, है ना, प्रत्येक जण समानार्थी शब्दानं बघतो, है ना, परंतु तो समानार्थी शब्द नाही आहे. Openly licensed content can be produced in any medium. Okay, it might be paper-based text, it might be video, it might be audio, it might be a computer-based multimedia. So a lot of learning courses may harness the OER, but this does not mean that OER are necessarily e-learnings. So this is a difference between OER and the e-learning. Then is it same as open learning or open education? Although use of OER can support open learning or open education, the two are not the same. Making open education or open learning a priority has significantly big implications than only committing to realizing the resources as an open or using the OER in educational programs. So it requires a very systematic analysis of assessment, accreditation systems, student support, curriculum frameworks, then mechanisms to recognize the prior learning, and so on. So in order to determine the extent to which they enhance or impede the openness. Then comes that whether the OER is related with the concept of resource-based learning. So again, there is no direct relationship between OER and the resource-based learning. Many OER available online have not explicitly been designed as a part of the deliberate strategy to shift to the resource-based learning. So likewise, most practice is a resource-based learning currently uses fully copyrighted material rather than OER. So nevertheless, linking OER and resource-based linking learning provides an opportunity to leverage both more effectively. Now, when we are talking all about open, how open is an open license then? Okay, a common misconception is that openly licensed content belong to a public domain. Everyone thinks that when it is it is open in a public domain, and that the author gives up all the rights to this material. This is not so. Okay, so in fact, the emergence of the open licenses have been driven strongly by a desire to protect a copyright holder's right in environments where content, particularly when it is digitized, can so easily be copied and shared via the internet without asking permissions. So a broad spectrum of legal framework is emerging to govern how OER are licensed for use. So some of the legal frameworks simply allow copying, but others make provision for users to adapt the resources that they use. Then what is the difference between OER and an open access publishing? Open access publishing is an important concept which is clearly related but distinct from that of the OER. Open access publishing is typically referring to research publications of some kind released under an open license. So OER refers to teaching and learning materials which are released under such a license. So clearly, especially in the higher education, there is an overlap as a research publications typically form a very important part of all over set of the materials that students need to access to complete their studies successfully, particularly at the postgraduate level. Nevertheless, the distinct seems worth applying because it allows more nuanced discussions and planning about which kind of open licenses would be most appropriate for the different type of resources. Now, who will guarantee the quality of OER? See, when we are putting it on a public domain, when we are putting it in the open access for the public, what about the quality? Because everyone will put their own resources. Then who will be deciding upon what type of quality the resources are having? So when need a mindset to shift into the OER space in the form of an unstated assumption that one or more dedicated agencies to take a full responsibility for assuring that OER shared in repositories online are of a high quality. So in addition to this being practically impossible, it masks the reality that the defined or the definition of the quality is always subjective and contextually dependent. See, it might be very much relevant to me. It might not be for you. So it is always a subjective. Responsibility for assuring the quality of OER used in the teaching and the learning environments will reside with the institution, program course coordinators, and individual educators responsible for delivering of the education. So it depends upon the institution, it depends upon the program or the course coordinators or a particular individual educator responsible for that particular activity. They are the wholesale who can guarantee you the quality because they are going to deliver it. They are going to disseminate that particular educational information to you, educational knowledge to you. So as they have always done when prescribing a textbooks, choosing a video to screen or using someone else's lesson plan, these agents are the one who retain final responsibility for choosing which material open and or proprietary to use. So this is very much clear because always there is a question about what type of quality, whether it is a quality because it is available openly. Anyone can use just like a Google. Okay, you Google it and you will get it. But what about the quality? So it emphasizes that the institution program or the course coordinators or the individual educator are only responsible for providing a qualitative OERs. How can education benefit by harnessing OER? Okay. Openly licensed educational materials have tremendous potential to contribute to improving the quality and effectiveness of education. The challenges of growing access combined with the ongoing overload of the ICT infrastructure into educational institutions, this indicates that it is becoming increasingly important for them to support in a planned and a very deliberate manner the development and improvement of curricula, ongoing programs, and a course design, planning of contact sessions with students, development of quality teaching and learning materials, and design of effective assessment. So these activities all aimed at improving the teaching and learning environment while managing the cost of this through increased role of the resource-based learnings. Then you have these three linked possibilities regarding the education. The transformative educational potential of OER revolves around these three linked possibilities. The very first is increased availability of high quality relevant learning materials can contribute to more productive students and educators. The second is the principle of allowing adaptation of materials provides one mechanism, almost many for constructive roles for students as active participants in the educational processes. And the third one is OER has potential to build capacity by providing institutions and educators access at low or no cost to the means of production to develop their competence in producing educational materials and carrying out the necessary instructional design to integrate. So these are the three main linked possibilities how an educational benefit you are going to get from this particular OERs. Now, many talk about whether these OER are really free. Okay, the issue of freedom and its definition has been widely debated since the advent of the open license, possibly most significantly in the free and the open source software environment. It does not cost anything to download, leaving aside the cost of bandwidth, of course, and the use. See, in our environment also, whether it is an institution or it's an university, people say that in university or in an educational institute, students get free information, free journals, free internet. But basically, the institution or the universities are paying for the bandwidth. It means that nothing is free, though the access has given free to them, but behind them The institutions are paying a lot of money for the bandwidth of the internet. So open content can be shared with others without asking the permission and without paying the license fees. However, simplistic assertions that OER is free by the extension that the use of OER will cut cost of educational delivery mask some important cost considerations.
हा होणारच नाही, बरोबर आहे. आता तुझ्याकडे ऐकून घे, आता तू समजा 25,000 रुपये दिले असं.
Does use of OER preclude use of the commercial content? Okay, there are a lot of commercial content also, which people think that they have a very high potential quality in that. OER and commercial content can thus be used together in courses and programs. Although course developers need to be very careful not to create licensing conflicts by the integrating material with different licensing conditions. So when designing teaching or learning materials, it thus seems a worthwhile practice. However, during design and development of these educational courses and programs, to consider all possibilities when developing and procuring content. So, of course, a consequence of digitization of the content and the growth of openly available content online, these educational publishing business models have to shift and mix open content and commercial content will continue to change. So, whenever it is needed, it depends upon the institution or the course coordinators. Then what policy changes are needed for institutions to make more effective use of OER? So there are the four possibilities or the four main policies which have to be very effective, sustainable institutional decisions to harness the OER is. The first is the provision in policy of clarity of IPR and copyrights. So you should be very much known to what is a intellectual property right, what is a copyright, before you are adding those things to your OER. Then human resource policy guidelines has to be very much clear. ICT policy guidelines has to be very much clear. And last but not least, the material development and the quality assurance policy guidelines has to be there. So these 3-4 main policies has to be there, and the institution should take a decision that how these 4 guidelines will be helpful in harnessing the OER. So it will make you much more effective. Now, when we are talking all about the OER, the question arises there, where do I find this OER? Okay, if you see that the scope of and the availability of OERs, every day it is expanding. Every week, new resources are being added to the global body of resources. So, current problem arising out of this growth is that there is no single comprehensive listing of all OER. This means that in order to find appropriate OER, the researcher will need to employ a number of search strategies. So, you won't find any ready-made list of this. The first one is use a specialized OER search engine. There are many search engines. Locate a suitable OER repository. Use OER directory sites. And a number of directory sites are also available. Now let us see one by one. Open courseware and open educational resources search, how you are going to search. I will show you some of these sites. The first one is the Commonwealth of Learning. It is called as a COLE. It provides you the Google custom search, which will initially return all the open coursewares and the open educational resources, results from the higher education institutions and OER repositories that has been selected. Once on the result page, users can refine their search further by selecting only open coursewares or only open educational resources or only the open courseware for certain regions. So they also provide the Yahoo Pipes field, search field to help users to find a very specific open courseware. Another is called as a Discover ED. So this has a search facility which is provided by the Creative Commons to help the users to find the OER. Then you have the Folk Semantic, which browse and search over more than 110,000 OERs. So this is an open educational resource recommender. There is also a website widget and the Firefox extension for this. A systematic basically provides access to the NSDL resources, but also Johns Hopkins, Merlot, MIT OCW resources. And the OER recommender now has a real-time analysis of OER resources, which are related to other web pages like, for example, Amazon. It's all free and open source and the code is available. Then you have a free learning search for OER sites. This is again a Google, this one, you have a Google custom search engine, which allows the users to focus their search to the sites which have already been identified by free learning or as a high quality OER, reducing the culture of the generic Google search. Then you have Sophia. It is a sharing of free intellectual assets, open coursewares. The goal of this Sophia is to publish the community college level content and make it freely accessible on the web to support teaching and learning. And the focus is on exploring ways of supporting instructions and student learning using a web-based resources. Then you have a Taiwan Open Courseware Consortium, which contains a number of universities in Taiwan. And this is as well as, this is in Chinese also. Then you have a Merlot Smart Search. It provides access to the curated online learning and support materials and content creation tools led by an international community of educators, learners, and researchers. Now let us see about the OER repositories. We have the Australian Flexible Learning Framework Learning Object Repository Network called as a LORN. It has currently 7 members repositories contributing more than 2,500 learning objects for download in a wide range of industries and subject areas, including business, community service, electrotechnology, horticulture, tourism, and hospitality. And the focus is on the TBT. Then you have Connexions, a place to view and share educational material made of small knowledge chunks called as the modules. That can be organized as a courses, books, reports, etc. So anyone may view or contribute to this. Then you have a development gateway. This is a Digi Communities, is a both a place to find the knowledge resources focused on development issues and the interactive space where users can share their own work, participate in discussions, and find people with similar interest. Then you have an internet archive that is an open educational resources. This library contains hundreds of free courses, video lectures, and supplemental materials from universities in the United States and China. Many of these lectures are available for download. Then you have a Jorum. This is basically a free online repository service for teaching and supporting staff in UK, further and higher educational institutions, helping to build a community for the sharing, reuse, and repurposing of learning and teaching material. Then you have OER Commons. This allows the users to browse and search the OER Common to find curriculum and a tag, rate, and review if for others. Then you have Open Courseware Consortium, where it is a collaboration of more than 200 higher education institutions and associated organizations from around the world, creating a broad and deep body of open educational content using a shared model. Users can find course materials by browsing individual OpenCourseware sites or by searching across all the courses. And then you have a New Zealand OER. It's an OER initiative from the New Zealand which allows the users to access number of courses. You have a CEC Learning Object Repository. It's an inter-university center on electronic media established by the UGC, Government of India. CEC's Learning Object Repositories, that is LOR, houses educational resources in different subjects like archaeology, biology, botany, chemistry, commerce, computer science, economics, education, English, fine arts, and many other subjects. Then you have NPTEL, that is National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. So it is to enhance the quality of engineering education in India by developing curriculum-based videos and web courses. So this is carried out by the 7 premier institutions as a collaborative project. So I have put all these logos of all the 7 premier institutions. Then you have an open schooling initiatives. Okay. People from Maharashtra might be knowing that there was an program like Shalanta Vidyarthi, Shala Bahya Vidyarthi, or the Praud Nirantar Shikshan, किंवा night schools, night colleges. Okay, for that particular purpose, this particular OER for open school has come out, and the COL is undertaking the range of activities, that is the Commonwealth of Learning, to strengthen the capacity and sustainability of open schools in the developing countries. So this includes creating practical handbooks, hosting capacity building workshops, commissioning research, and providing access to the digital resources. Then you have a National Institute of Open Schooling. This is an largest open schooling system in the world, which has been the initiative by the Ministry of Human Resource Development, Government of India. And this provides a number of vocational, life enrichment, and community-oriented courses. Besides general and academic courses at secondary and senior secondary level, it also offers elementary level courses through its open basic educational programs. Then you have a Namibian College of Open Schooling, that is called as NAMCOL. It is created by an Act of the Parliament 1 of 1997 of Namibia, and it provides learning opportunities for adults and the out of school youth. This is the Bostenva Open University. It's called as an Bokodal, which offers distance education courses for preparation for the junior certificate and BGCSE exams. The college was established out of the distance education section of the non-formal education department. Part of its mission is to extend distance education course provision beyond schooling to offer the vocational and other courses. The Bokodal course are primarily print-based with some audio support, broadcast on the radio Botswana. Then you have a Tele Secondria. It is a project for lower secondary school learnings with the television support. And if you remember, on Doordarshan also, there used to come a program in the morning sessions, and which used to provide the various lecture series. The same concept of Tele Secondary is that with the help of the television support, this has been instrumental in changing the situation, and Mexico's communications infrastructure is now opening up to different forms of education and learning. Then you have universities open courseware initiatives. So what all universities have been started with the open courseware? That is the Athabasca University, Then Capilano University, Kangmalan University Open Learning Initiative. Then the MIT, that is Massachusetts Institute of Technology Open Courseware. Then Nagoya University Open Courseware, Japan. Then we have a subject specific OCW OER. This is for mathematics. So people can have a lot of open courseware and the open educational resources from this particular about the mathematics. And HEAL, that is the Health Educational Assets Library. So this has more than 20 or 22,000 free available digital materials for the health sciences. Then you have a TESSA, that is a teacher's education in sub-Saharan Africa. You have a GEM4 open courseware. You have a Tufts open courseware. This is basically a web-based publication of educational material by the Tufts University. This is a Berkeley Shares, where you can get all the sample lessons. Then you have a Stanford University. You have an African Health OER network. Then you have CITESUS, that's our wordcast sources. This is for the medical health students. Then you have robotics courseware. You have a Nano Hub, which includes the Nano MGF, the Nano Bio, the Nano Needs, Nano Bio Node. Then let us come on the OER tools. What are the various different OER tools? Kuruki is one of the tool which is very much helpful for the student of electronics. You have EduCommons. You have EduForge. This is a very beautiful type of tool that is called as an open clip art library, wherein you have 62 collections of open clip art. This can be used for the various presentations. You might want to have some open clip from this. It's very useful. This I always use the open font libraries. This has a maximum numbers of fonts available. So the few examples you can see on the screen. So people uses for various e-publishing purposes nowadays for these fonts with the help of these fonts. You have OOPS, that is open source open courseware prototypes systems. Then you have Opencast community and the other OER tools. What are the other OER tools? That is a Commonwealth of Learning course materials. So you have an institutional repository of the learning resources and publications. So you can find out this particular here. Then you have a POI, that is a Professional Education Organization Internationals. It is a non-profit and volunteer organization. It is registered under the US Educational Organization, and it has started in 1999. It has various courses available. Then you have a Wikiversity, where you have more than 26,000 learning resources, and it is still growing. So now let us see what are the Indian initiatives in the OER. This is a view. Okay, it's called as Amrita Virtual Interactive E-Learning World. So it is developed by the Amrita University. It is a part of a Talk to a Teacher program led by the IIT Bombay and funded by the NME ICT MHRDC. You have a e-Gyan Kosh, which is a national digital repository to store, index, preserve, distribute, and share the digital learning resources developed by the open and distance learning institutions in the country. So in items in Gyan Kosh, they are protected by copyright with all rights reserved by the IGNU. Then you have Project Oscar. Okay, the Oscar is taken from the open source courseware animations repository. So this is a very beautiful animation repository. You can search what animation you want and you can easily download and you can use it. This is a project by IIT Bombay. Then you have OER for S, that is for schools. A major project sponsored by the Rajiv Gandhi Science of Technical Commission, that is RGSTC, and implemented in collaboration with the Maharashtra Knowledge Corporation Limited, that is MKCL. Then you have Sakshat. It is again the National Mission on Educational through ICT. It is a landmark initiative by the Ministry of Human Resource Development to address all the education and learning related needs of students, teachers, and lifelong learners. Then everyone knows all the NCRT, it is now online. Then you have PGDAL IGNU, that's a postgraduate diploma in e-learning. You have a Wiki Educator, that is India. Now let us talk about what actually is the OER for the research. What we have talked about is up to now was all the general part, and this is now I will talking about the specific for how research, for what research we can use this OER. So we should know what all are the databases available. PubMed is one of the databases, might be knowing by all the science teachers in this particular decorum. PubMed is a web-based retrieval system which is developed by the NCBI at the NLM, that is the National Library of Medicine. Over 22 million records represent the articles in the biomedical literature. So it provides the access to the Medline, the National Library of Medicine's premier in the bibliographic databases.
So
And
now it
you have
is saying that it is not active because of the insufficient funding by the government. PubMed
PubMed is not.
active due to the insufficient funding.
No, but at the moment I can use it now in my institute.
When I have used it, it was showing that funding is not there. That's why it's not active. Furthermore,
No, but my research students are already using PubMed now also.
okay, sir, I will again explore.
Yeah, we have an access in our university.
Sir, I think actually that every university will be subscribing separately, and I think SAS University has not subscribed for PubMed. That is the thing, I suppose.
But it does not have to be subscribed because it is available free. Okay, it is in an open domain.
Yes, sir, but PubMed, it is, I think through Enlist they have to subscribe. They have to access PubMed through Enlist.
Okay. But it's a very good resources. It's a highly recommendable database where you get all the biomedical literature.
Yes, sir.
So in my various research activities, we do use PubMed for getting the biomedical literature. This is how it looks now, might have changed according to the time and all. This is how it looks. You have an advanced PubMed search in that. Then you have a JGET. It's an electronic gateway to the global e-journal literature. It was launched back in 2001 by the Informatics India Limited. That's in Bangalore. and it provides you more than 13,000 publishers. It has indexed more than 50,000 e-journals.
मी तुम्हाला मान देते पूजा करायचा साधा राहून.
Can you please just mute all your mics? Then it has a comprehensive searchable database with more than 5 crores articles. Okay, every day it is adding 10,000 articles in its database. Then you have ePrints. It's an India's first and fastest growing institutional repository. Okay, it's from the Indian Institute of Science repository, which collects, preserves, and disseminates in a digital format the research output created by the IIC research community. So it can be browsed by subject, it can be browsed by the year, it can be browsed by author or the latest editions. Rule number 21. So Indian Academy of Science is also having a very good open access repository of publications of its fellows. So they also attempt to collect, preserve, and disseminate the intellectual output of the academy available as a publication by their own fellows in the peer-reviewed journals. Then you have e-prints by University of Mysore. Then you have ERIC, that is the Educational Resource Information Center. It is the world's most widely used index to educational related literature, which is established in 1966. It is the largest education database in the world, containing more than 1.5 million records of journals, articles, research reports, curriculum and teaching, guides, conference paper, dissertation, thesis, and books. Now, let us see about the theses and dissertations. You have a Shodhganga. The implement is coming with very innovative type of resources nowadays. Okay, so Shodhganga is one of them, where you can find the PhD thesis which has been deposited by their individual institutions, which has the ability to capture, index, store, disseminate, and preserve the electronic thesis and dissertations submitted by the researchers in Indian universities. This is how you can see, according to the university, according to the subject, according to the researcher, according to the guide. So a variety of ways you can access this. Then you have a Shodh Gangotri. This is related with the synopsis what the student submits. Then you have ND-LTD, that is a Network Digital Library of Theses and Dissertations. You have Duke University Library, which have a thesis and dissertations. You have Ethos, where you have more than 4 lakh doctoral theses. You can download instantly for your research, or you can order a scanned copy. You have the Bibliotheca Alexandria. This is a depository library for theses and dissertations from all Egyptian universities. It holds more than 41,000 theses. Then you have a Saurashtra University. So this e-thesis, the online archive of PhD thesis of Saurashtra University, which contains completed and examined PhD thesis from doctoral candidates. Then you have Devi Ahilya Vishwavidyalaya. You have a WorldCat, which connects you to the collection and services of more than 10,000 libraries worldwide. Then you have a Sonic, that is a sound online inventory and catalogs. This is a Library of Congress recorded sound collection, contains more than 2.5 million audio recordings, including multiple copies. Now let us see about the journals. This is the DOAJ. Many people know what is the DOAJ. That's the Directory of Open Access Journals, which has more than, nowadays, it has more than 10,000 journals from more than 130 countries. You have the New York Public Library Digital Collection, which has a collection of prints, photographs, maps, manuscripts, streaming videos, and many more. Then regarding the search engines, everyone knows you have a Google Scholar, which provides you a very way to broadly search for scholarly literature across the disciplines and sources. Then you have a Lazy Scholar, which finds free scholarly full text matrix and which provides a very quick citations. I prefer this particular base search engine. Many times I use this particular search engine because it is very precise. What you can see in other databases or in related with the open, that is a Google search. This does not give you any type of junk information. I prefer this base, that is a Bellefield academic search engine for the bio scientific literatures. Like this, you have www.base-search.net, and I prefer this for the biomedical literature because it gives me a very precise, and it gives, see here, it gives you the source. You can click here and you can literally go to that particular sources where you cannot get it in your paid searches. Then we have indexes and abstracts, in which you have chemical abstracts, which you have IPA, that is a international pharmaceutical abstracts, STN, that is a scientific technical network. You have a Skyfinder. Then you have searching tools for the patent literature. You have a Get the Patent, which is owned by the Cartesian Products. It's a full text patent database where you will get the images of all USPTO, EPO, WIPO. It also contains from the national publications of Austria, Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, Great Britain, Japan, Spain, and Switzerland. This is how it looks. Get the Patent website. You can download in a bulk also. You can download in an individual also. Then you have a digital library softwares. Anyone from the library science field in this class?
Yes, sir.
So it is very helpful for you, this particular thing. So we have a DSpace, we have a Greenstone digital library software, we have a JNU ePrint archive software, we have a Ganesha digital library software, we have a Libronix digital library system. Okay, then in context with ebooks, we have a Scribd. This is the online document sharing site which supports the Word, Excel, PowerPoint, PDF, and other formats. You can download the document or you can embed in your web or web pages. You have a free book spot. Then you have eSnip files, which offers you free ebooks and softwares legally by brought or attended PLR, resale, or master rights to all the products on their pages. Then you have many books. It's a free ebook for your PDA or iPod or ebook reader. You have again the ebooks for free. Then you have My Government National Portrait for ebooks. You have Book Chums. You have the online book pages. It is listing more than 30,000 free books on the web. Then other ebook websites like Project Gutenberg, like Authorama Public Domain Book, like Bartley by the online book page, the MIT Open Courseware. Then Read Print you have, it's a free online library where you can find literally thousands of free books to read for free online. Then you have American libraries, which includes the material contributed across the US. Here you can find there are many libraries attached to it, like the Boston Library Consortium, Boston Public Library, University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, then MBLW Library. Then you have a translation tools also available like marathibhasha.com. You have a netshika.com, arogyavidya.net. Then for creating a website also, you have a lot of tools available. Like you have Google Sites, you have Wix, you have Webly, you have a website builder, site builder, web node, web 123, webs. Then you have for creating innovative blog. So you have a blogging websites which are freely available like Blogger, WordPress, Typepad, Free Blogit, Medium, Penzu, Siptel, Tumblr, Squarespace, ProBlogger, Steve Pavlina, Dosh. Then nowadays for preparing a questionnaire for research, for online questionnaire for research, you have e-survey creator, you have a free online survey, you have a Google Forms. This is very popular, Google Forms, Quick Survey, eServe, Surveynets, Qualatrix. Everyone knows how to prepare a Google form.
Yes, sir, we know, sir.
Yeah, I'm skipping that. Thank you. Now this is very interesting. Okay, whether this is a fact. Somewhere something went terribly wrong. Can anybody tell me what has been wrong in this particular image? What has gone wrong?
We go back to our previous scenario.
Yeah, so the first image, if you see in the lower type of image, we are going to the primitive stage itself now. Okay, with the help of technology. We don't have to move anywhere. We are just idly sitting. Okay, we are coming out of all the disabilities in our vertebral column nowadays. Okay, a lot of people are having complaints about this. So there is something interesting with the help of this. These chaps, if you see these two chaps, Aaron H. Swartz and Alexandra Albekin, they have created a history in the internet era. Okay, this Aaron Swartz, if you see, he was born on the November 8, 1986, and he committed a suicide on January 11, 2013. Okay, he was an American computer programmer, entrepreneur, writer, political organizer, and internet archivist. He was involved in the development of the web feed format of RSS and the Markdown publishing format with the organization Creative Commons, the web site framework. Okay, but what happened is that he focused on civic awareness and the activism. He launched a progressive change campaign committee in 2009 to learn more about effective online activism. In 2010, he became a research fellow at Harvard University, Safra Research Lab on the institutional corruption, directed by Lawrence Lessig. He found the online group Demand Progress, known for its campaign against the Stop Online Piracy Act. And he was arrested on January 6/11 by MIT police on state breaking and entering charges after he connecting a computer to the MIT network in an unmarked and unlocked closet and setting it download academic journals articles systematically from the JSTOR using a guest user account issued by him by the MIT. So federal prosecutors charged him with 2 counts of wire fraud and 11 violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, carrying a cumulative maximum penalty of $1 million in fines, 35 years in prison, asset forfeit, restitutions, and supervised release. So he committed a suicide while under the federal indictment for these alleged computer crimes. And he declined a plea bargain against which he had served 6 months in the federal prison. So he was found dead by in his Brooklyn apartment where he had hanged himself. In June 2013, SWAT was inducted posthumously into the Internet Hall of Fame. Now, what he has done is he has, as I have already told you, that he systematically downloaded all the academic articles and he put it on a cloud where he gave access freely to all the world. All the scientific literature he downloaded systematically, put it on a cloud, and he gave access. And that's how people started putting charges on him. The publisher started putting charges on him because all the paid publishers for each an article, you people might be knowing that we have to pay more than 25 to 50 to 100 US dollars, pounds to download the article. But Aaron downloaded it systematically and put it in a public domain to give access to all the researchers free of charge. And that's how he was charged with this fine. After his death, Alexandra Asuna Albikin, the Kazakhstani graduate student, she created a website called as a Sky Hub. Many
I
people
have
might be
this.
knowing the Sky Hub.
Yes, sir, we are knowing.
Okay, from where you can download. And the beauty of the Sky Hub is every day its location will change. Okay, because of the cloud location, the URL will always change. And the US, the American people are behind these Alexandra
Yes.
to be caught, but she is absconding. She is never been caught, and she still continues the work of Aaron. And you can find out this Sky Hub. This is a Sky Hub. Okay, where you need to enter your URL, you need to have a PM ID, that is a PubMed ID, or you need to have a DOI, that is a digital object identifier.
Even the title can be added.
Yeah. If you have all these three or any of this, if you put it in this particular thing, if you have a DOI, okay, if you click on this, it will take you to the journals page where does not have to log in or you have to pay for something. Okay, if I click on this PDF, what I want, I can get a PDF on my screen and I can download and I can use it for fair use. See, fair use is very important because I am using it for my research purpose. I'm not using it for disseminating or providing a service, paying means people paying me charge and I'm providing them. Okay, the work they have done it is for the fair use of for the research community. Okay.
She has to struggle for her PhD or something for.
Yeah. Lot of she has struggled.
Yeah.
Okay. But Aaron has to give his life
Yeah.
for the researcher.
So
Okay.
now there is a limitation for that Sahab also.
Now they
Last
have put because
last
see,
3 year
because
papers
of the
can be uploaded.
technology,
Yeah.
technology nowadays can find everything.
But
If you
earlier, only
you
last
can
year
find out.
paper was not downloadable. But now, last 3 years paper you cannot download from that Sci-Hub.
Yeah, because see, someone has to come out with the middle path, na?
Yes.
Sir, and my students say that you can access it through some VPNs. With
Yeah. That is
through
again the
VPNs, you
beauty,
can
na?
access it.
It is in the cloud, so there are various ways from where you can access.
Library Genesis is one of the initiative like that Sci-Hub only, sir.
Yes.
And in case of the PubMed, I was mentioning that yes, my papers are also there in PubMed. But what is the problem nowadays? Whatever the funding was there from US federal,
Yeah.
that funding is now stopped. So hereafter that database will not be updated. That is the problem.
See, ये सब बनिया का खेल है. Okay, everyone wants some type of money from all services.
Yes,
If
yes,
people are getting free, na. So
yes,
there is again a saying: if you get a free, na, you don't have a value of it.
yes, yes.
Everything, if you get free, na, you don't have a value. So this
Everyone want to make money.
people,
They are asking for
commercial people
scribed
are very,
also. They are saying donate.
that how they have various ways to find out that how they can get economy from that,
Yes, yes,
isn't it?
yes, sir.
Sir, I've been editorial board member of and editor of a few journals.
Yeah.
See, recently, from those journals, we went into this DOI subscription.
Yeah.
So that itself cost a lot, sir. And getting into the OJS format, once again, once again, it cost a lot. So because of this only, they get a lot of subscription from the probably users or the authors, I suppose, sir.
Can you people just answer few of my questions?
Yes,
If
sir,
you
we will.
can. See, for research, who is funding you people?
For many of the research scholar, no one, sir. We have to do the research on our own. Sometimes some funding agencies are there. If you are getting GRF and some caste-based fellowships are available nowadays. But at my time, I was a JRF fellow. But I have purchased one paper, sir. Some stupid people are like me, which are investing money in research. I have purchased one research paper from which was Chinese research paper.
Yeah, but my question was, we are funded by some other agencies. Okay. So
Yeah.
we are self-financed. We are sometimes funded by agency,
Sarthi, Balti, like
isn't
that.
it?
Yeah.
You are working, you are being funded by other agencies, and now you want to publish your research papers, which has been funded by other agencies, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So for publishing purpose, you are going where? You are going for a well-known type of publisher, which asks you for more than 10,000, 20,000 for publishing one article.
Yes.
And that too, you don't have any copyright on that.
Journal is having
Only
exclusively.
journal is having.
Yes.
See, you people are writing articles, you are funded by the agencies, but the publishers are having the right on who should be purchasing your articles.
That is
You are
true, sir.
wasting your time, you are wasting your economy, you are wasting your money, everything for writing a particular article.
So
But who
in
is
the name
making
of
money out of the
citation
article?
and H index, we are just fooled, I suppose.
See, metrics are just a foolish type of part. I don't believe in metrics. If I am giving a lecture in to your this particular session, how many people are listening to me and how many are carrying out what I am teaching you people, that is my citation, isn't it?
Right.
If you are putting a numbers, number does not carry any credentiality. I know many people who cite themselves in their own papers and their students' paper, and they get H index in a higher level. But if you tell them, if you talk 15 minutes on a particular topic, they won't talk because they never know what has been published in those papers. But they have a high index.
Yes.
This particular thing, Aaron has cashed up that we are working day and night for our research. We are publishing in a journal, and why we have to supposed to pay and we are not getting a benefit of that. So he downloaded all very particularly in a very systematic manner, and he made available to the public. But he has to pay for his life for that, isn't it? But Alabama she is continuing. his presidency, and she is providing. So that is again a very good type of thing for a research community. And whoever does not have a funding like you, Dr. Kundan, this type of sources are very much helpful to the researcher. Okay, so in a conclusion, I will say that the investment in designing this effective educational environments is critically important to a very good education. Okay, it's a key productive system to build a common intellectual capital rather than duplicating similar efforts. All things being equal, collaborative will provide to improve your quality. And as education in a contextual practice, it is important to make it easy to adapt material important from different settings. So where it is required, and this should be encouraged rather than restriction. So I will acknowledge the basic guidelines of the open educational resource by the UNESCO, from where I have prepared this particular presentation. And I would like to thank Dr. Bhupendra Bansod, the librarian, and Dr. Amol Ubale, who is an assistant professor of the PVDT College of Education, SNDT Women's University. They have helped me to make me clarify the doubts where I used to have in the OER. So thank you, Dr. Bansod, Dr. Ubale, and the UNESCO guidelines.
Yeah.
So thank you. I would like to thank the course coordinator, Dr. Veena Sengar, the director, Dr. Dhanashree Mahajan, and the deputy director, Dr. Rafe, for providing me this platform to have an interaction with you people. Hope that I was successful in providing at least a bit of information to you people. Thank you. If you have any questions, you are
Thanks a
welcome.
lot, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
You have not given a
Thank
big,
you, so much, sir.
whole gamut of
Thank you, sir.
the resource of this OER, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Rule number 70, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. You can propose or talk. Thanks.
Our today's resource person, Professor Dr. Shashank Sonwane, sir, course coordinator, and my fellow participants. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks for this insightful session. Sir, on behalf of organizers and all the participants, I would like to express our sincere gratitude to you for sparing your valuable time to address us. Your session on OER for research was not only informative but also deeply inspiring. We are truly privileged to have been guided by an academician of your stature. Your immense experience brought a unique perspective to our session today. We are extremely grateful for how you simplified the concept of open educational resources and explained the vital benefits of OER in education and research. The detailed walkthrough of research tools like PubMed, JGate, ePrints, and ERIC was incredibly insightful. Furthermore, your guidance on specific OERs for thesis and dissertation, journals, and ebook will be immense asset for our future scholarly work. Thank you so much, sir, for enriching this refresher course with your expertise. We are truly grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I'm rejoining 2:45.
Yes, we can rejoin at 2:45.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.